Prayers.
Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of leaders in the parliament for the welfare of society, good of all human lives upon it, and the just government of its people. We beseech you to look with your abundant favor upon us, your servants, whom you have entrusted with the performance of such important trust in this community. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our attention and deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of this region and of those whose interests you have committed to us. Amen. Amen. Thank you.
Item number 2 on the order paper, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have one communication for you. Yesterday, I had informed the House that the motion about to pay tribute to the late Excellency Hassan Mwinyi, that it should be moved on Thursday. I have consulted and I found that it's better to consider that motion today while we still have our minister from Tanzania with us. So we'll have to consider that motion today. It will be moved today. That's what I have.
Item number 3 on the order paper, laying of papers. We'll start with the report of the Committee on Accounts on the assessment of governance instruments and implementation of previous audit recommendations. Kiswahili Commission.
Chair of the Committee on Account today.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, good morning. In accordance to the Eala rules of a procedure Annex 5A, 1 and 2, I beg to lay on table the report of the Committee of Accounts for the oversight activity that was carried out at the East African Kiswahili Commission from 15th to 20th November 2023 in Zanzibar, United Republic of Tanzania.
Still on item number 3, laying of papers, Roman 2, report of the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution on promoting regional peace and security, ICG LR report.
Chair Kanley.
Thank you. Right, Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, I beg to lay on table the report of the Committee on Regional Affairs and Conflict Resolution on the benchmarking mission to the International Conference on Great Lakes Region that was held on the 8th to 13th of January 2024 in Bujumbura, Burundi. I beg to lay.
Still on item number 3, laying of papers. Report of the Committee on Agriculture, Tourism and Natural Resources on policies and laws on GMOs in the EAC region.
The chair of that committee is not around, but in case she designated a member to lay.
Information, Honorable Speaker.
Yes.
I think the chair had an issue. So what I saw on WhatsApp group of the committee was that Honorable Gideon was assigned to do this on behalf of the chairperson. I don't know where he is.
Can you lay it yourself? Whereas Gideon is there. Reverend time. Honorable Gideon, it's time for you to lay your report. You have been designated.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I beg to lay the report of the Committee on Regional Affairs, on Committee on Agriculture, Tourism and Natural Resources on the assessment of policies and laws on genetically modified organisms in the East African partner states. An activity conducted from 4th to the 9th of February 2024. I beg to lay Right Honorable Speaker.
Order number 4. Motion for a resolution of the Assembly urging the Council of Ministers and partner states to fast track and harmonize tax policies in order to remove tax distortions and promote investments in the community. Motion.
Honorable George Odongo, move your motion.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm moving a motion for a resolution of the Assembly urging the Council of Ministers and partner states to fast-track harmonization of tax policies in order to remove tax distortions and promote investment in the community. I'm moving under Articles 49(2)(d), 59(1), 81, 82(1), 83(2)(e) of the treaty, and Article 32 of the Common Market Protocol, and Rule 26 of the Rules of Procedure of the Assembly. Whereas the partner states undertook in Article 83(2)(e) of the treaty to harmonize tax policies with a view to removing tax distortions.
Point of procedure, Right Honorable Speaker.
Sorry.
We have to take, if you have seconders, before you justify it. If you don't have,
I concede.
will not. Do you have seconders? Yes, Honorable Makame, Honorable Batman Dangiza, Honorable Sankok, and the others. Now we can proceed.
Much obliged, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, whereas the partner states undertook in Article 83(2)(e) of the treaty to harmonize their tax policies with a view to removing tax distortions in order to bring about a more efficient allocation of resources within the community. And whereas under Article 32 of the Protocol on the establishment of the East African Common Market, the partner states further committed to progressively harmonize their tax policies and laws to remove tax distortions in order to facilitate the free movement of goods, services, and capital to promote investment within the community. And noting that the commitment of the partner states to harmonize tax policies and remove distortions is premised on the recognition by the partner states under Article 82.1 of the treaty that harmonization of tax policies is crucial to monetary stability within the community and will enhance and facilitate economic integration and attainment of sustainable economic development of the community. Appreciating the partner states for adopting and implementing one customs law for the East African community and a common external tariff, and the efforts of Council of Ministers through the various directives issued to the partner states and the secretariats to step up efforts to harmonize tax processes and procedures and tax incentives. Aware that the EAC double taxation agreement adopted by the community on the 30th of December 2015 to facilitate removal of double taxation in specific aspects is to date not ratified by all the partner states. And further aware that although the tax systems of the partner states are harmonized in terms of design and principle, there are significant differences in definitions of tax bases, tax rates, tax deductions, tax incentives for investment, treatment of capital gains tax across partner states. And recognizing that the objective of harmonization of taxes is not necessarily to apply the same tax laws and tax rates by all partner states, but to prevent tax distortions and any national tax measures that have a negative effect on the free movement of goods, services, and capital within the community, and that promote unfair competition among the partner states. And concerned that in addition to unfair competition and discriminatory taxes cause distortions in cross-border transactions and investment decisions for businesses, and are contributory source to trade disputes among business and partner states, and the development and persistence of undesirable practices like smuggling of goods in order to evade the taxes. And further concern that distortions and systems negatively impact cross-border trade, particularly by vulnerable women traders, majority of whom are operating on a small scale with small consignments, but who are subjected to multiple taxes and fees within the different partner states. Convinced that tax harmonization policies among the partner states will eliminate tax distortions and facilitate free movement of goods, services, capital, and workers, facilitate cross-border trade and investment, gradually reduce and eventually eliminate tax competition among the partner states, enhance tax compliance and enforcement, and enhance the promotion of the East African community as a single investment destination. Aware that Article 49.2d of the treaty, the Assembly may discuss any matter pertaining to the community and make recommendations to Council. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Assembly as follows: that in accordance with Article 49.2d of the treaty, the Assembly urges the Council of Ministers and the partner states to A, develop, adopt, implement, and fast-track programs and activities on harmonization of tax policies in order to remove tax distortions and promote investment in the community. B, adopt specific harmonized principles with common and clear definitions, rates and assessment criteria, and other parameters relating to the various taxes to guide the partner states when developing and implementing tax policies, and to ensure that all tax policies conform to these adopted principles. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, the motion on the floor is that this Assembly do resolve to urge the EAC Council of Ministers and the partner states to fast-track harmonization of tax policies in order to remove tax distortions and promote investment in the community. Debate is open. He has justified. That's what is, didn't that justify? You just moved.
Yes,
Oh, so we go back.
let me justify.
You can justify it. You can even use the.
I'm okay here, Right Honorable. Right Honorable Speaker, I'll quickly justify my motion. Right Honorable Speaker, this process has a history. In 2014, the Council of Ministers were presented with proposals, with policy proposals around harmonization of tax policies. That proposal was rejected by Council. However, in 2019, Council adopted two policy frameworks. One was a policy on income taxes, and the other one was the harmonization of VAT and excise duties. However, Right Honorable Speaker, when you talk about harmonization of taxes, in principle, it is not that we are coming up with the same taxes, but we are simply saying that we adopt principles under which partner states formulate taxes, which taxes do not undermine the Common Market Protocol and do not undermine the Customs Union Protocol. The differences in our taxes in our different partner states has a result of a tendency to attract investment in our partner states, has caused what we call a race to the bottom, because we are all trying to adopt different incentive structures. Remember that we almost have the same tax structure in the whole of East African community. However, the application of the taxes is differing from each partner state. So the taxes that are charged domestically are varying from one partner state to the other. And as a result, it is distorting our integration of markets. Because when I move my goods from Kenya to Uganda, from Uganda to Tanzania, I want to trade in these partner states. If I am subjected to different tax regimes, it means that I am not integrated in the market. This is supposed to be a common market. It is supposed to be a single ecosystem that should not be undermined by differences that are imposed by our different tax regimes. So my motion is to seek the attention of Council to try and look at the different tax regimes within our different partner states, with a view of ensuring that we have common principles and also the application of which, and does not necessarily mean that we have the same taxes, but each tax in each partner state should not undermine the spirit of the common market and should not undermine the spirit under the customs union. Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, we would want to promote the East African community as a single investment destination. Capital is a coward. Those who own capital know that they only go to places where the investment environment is predictable. And since we are promoting the East African community as a single investment destination, and investment decisions are based on those specific provisions of our investment policies, an investor should be happy to come into an investment environment where he or she feels that he will receive or she will receive equal treatment everywhere within the territory of the East African community, other than being treated differently in Uganda, be treated differently in Tanzania, and be treated differently in Rwanda or any other partner state. So it is this that this motion seeks to address, so that we are able to eliminate tax distortions, facilitate cross-border trade, as you have heard from my motion, that the women in the cross-border areas are being affected differently. When they move their goods from one border to the other, they are treated differently in terms of our different tax regimes. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I beg this House to adopt my motion so that the council can reiterate its position, its directive that has so far not been adequately addressed through the Secretariat to have our different tax regimes harmonized and for us to be pulling in the same direction with respect to our taxes and eventually to promote the East African community as a single investment destination. I beg to move, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Now the motion on the floor is that this assembly do resolve to urge the EAC Council of Ministers and the partner states to fast-track harmonization of tax policies in order to remove tax distortions and promote investment in the community. Debate open. Clerks, try to... We have Honorable Makame on this side, then Honorable Fatima Dangiza, Honorable Sankok, Honorable Kanini Kega. That's all. Let's start with Honorable Makame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for allowing me the opportunity to add my voice on this important motion, which is very crucial to the implementation of the EAC integration project. Mr. Speaker, at the outset, allow me to thank my brother, Honorable George Odongo, for moving this important motion in this House. These are the matters that ought to come to the attention of the Council, and where possible, even the summit, to note that we are not walking the talk, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to be very brief, but submit issues of material importance. And possibly, if my brother would take them, to improve in the recommendations. He spoke about Article 32 on progressive harmonization of tax policies and tax laws, but he left Article 37 of the same protocol, which talks about coordination of trade relations. He was talking about trade relations here, that we are in East Africa. We want East Africans to benefit the integration. We should have proper trading system. So our trade relations are very much affected by the taxation. In there, he spoke about direct taxations and also double taxation. So we should be harmonizing the domestic taxes and making the environment crucial and operative. Mr. Speaker, elsewhere, in Article 47, it talks about approximation and harmonization of policies, laws, and system of the common market protocol. So these are the issues. There are other policies, not only tax policies. But finally, in the issue of the common market is Article 50, which is talking about monitoring and evaluation of the implementation of the common market protocol. So, Mr. Speaker, this protocol entered into legal force in 2010, July 1st. Today is 14 years. I dare say, and I wish the Secretary General would have been here, but now we don't have the Secretary General. The new Secretary General hasn't taken her office. But the Council should be also aware that there is no monitoring and evaluation of the common market implementation that has ever been done. So what we are doing is we are making our heads of state to sign protocols and to appear in pictures that the East African community has signed the protocol on common market. It's going to take, it is going to enter into legal force on 1st of July, and it's not implemented. No monitoring and evaluation. In Kiswahili, Mr. Speaker, we have a saying that says, mali bila ya daftari hupotea bila habari. In English, we can say, mali bila ya daftari hupotea bila habari. Yeah, that is wealth without being documented can disappear. But in English, the similar saying we say, where you do not inspect, do not expect. So that's the essence of having a monitoring and evaluation. But the council, it seems it's very busy, and it has distanced itself from the monitoring of the day-to-day operations of the implementation of these protocols. It's getting other things to get busy with. But they should know that this is their cardinal function, to supervise the secretariat, but also to supervise implementation of the protocols in their domestic regimes. Mr. Speaker, also, this House would say that I'm used to submitting this, but the issue here is, Mr. Speaker, if you go to the Customs Union Protocol, Article 24, you'll also note that there's a Committee for Trade and Remedies, which was supposed to be established since 2005. Now it is 19 years. Last year I said that would have been an adult if a child was born at that time and now voting. So, Mr. Speaker, we need to walk the talk. I would say that once we have these protocols that have been okayed by partner states, the heads of state have signed, let us work together to implement them. Let's not just have them and move to negotiate other protocols and then just be a talk shop. I beg to move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Honorable Fatuma Ndangiza.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. At the outset, I would like to start by thanking Honorable George Odong for moving a timely motion on harmonization of our tax systems, especially as yesterday we presented and debated on the report of the role of women, youth, and other vulnerable groups in cross-border trade. But we also recall, honorable members, that yesterday, we also had an engagement with the private sector in Kenya. And the issue of unharmonized domestic taxes and tax regimes in the community was echoed by all the speakers. It is a barrier to integration. It is a barrier to doing trade in the community. And that could be one of the reasons as to why trade within the East African community is still low. Whether you call it 15% or 22%, different statistics, but still we are not trading adequately within the community. And therefore, for me, I regard it as a non-tariff barrier. The conflicting tax regimes within the community, different VATs, you come to one country, it is 18%, you go to another, it is 16%, you go to another one, it is 19, 20. It will even be very difficult to come up with the common market, the common currency, monetary union. Probably this is one of the reasons why it is delaying. And sincerely, East Africans want to move fast with regard to integration. And you all believe that trade is a common denominator. It is what makes us East Africa as one of the fastest growing blocks in the region. We are a market of 350 million, which is a big market. But for us to be a competitive bloc, we need to create a conducive environment. And one of the conducive environment is to ensure that we harmonize our taxes within the region so that we can attract investments, so that East Africa can be the best investment destination in the region. But you should also be aware that as we speak, we've started the African Continental Free Trade Area, and we need to go there as a bloc. So these are some of the areas, as a matter of urgency, that the Council should work on. One, to come up with harmonized policies on taxation. And good work has been done. It's a question of fast tracking, so that really every citizen of East Africa, as we say that EAC is a citizen-led and private sector-driven community. We need to facilitate our private sector to do trade. We need to make East Africa the best trading bloc in the region, so that our mission of having a peaceful, secure, stable, and competitive region can be attained. With those remarks, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to support once again the motion and urge that you adopt the motion, but more important, to urge the council really to take seriously the recommendations in that motion so that we can have harmonization of our taxation systems and policies. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ndangiza. Now, Honorable Sankok.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And from the onset, I support the motion by Honorable George Odongo from the Uganda chapter. This is a timely motion, and it's a motion that will not only harmonize our trade, but also be a precursor to the single currency aspiration of our pillar of monetary union. Honorable Speaker, we have to harmonize taxes because when we have different types of taxes, it will also give us unfair competition. Imagine the United Republic of Tanzania, VAT is 18%, Rwanda is 18%, Uganda is 18%, Burundi is 18%, South Sudan is, I think I don't have the figures of South Sudan, DRC is 18%, and Kenya is 16%. So the product that originates from Kenya is almost 2% cheaper than the product that are produced elsewhere because of VAT. This one, even if we want the common market protocol to succeed, we must harmonize for us to have fair competition. Honorable Speaker, this motion is also timely in the sense that Kenyans who are watching us, because I'm sure they are following us, have been claiming that our president is Zakayo, Mtosha Ushuru. They now know that VAT in other countries are higher than those in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, again, when it comes to our own market, we have a market of 350 million people. It is a market bigger than that one of USA. USA have a market of 334 million people. We are a bigger market. And we are an economic bloc that can trade all over the world if we harmonize our own trade and attract investors, Honorable Speaker. Any investor in our economic bloc in EAC, Honorable Speaker, is accessible to a landmass of 1.4 billion acres, is accessible to 6,500 kilometers of coastline. This is an economic bloc that can actually attract investors from all over the world, and they can trade all over the world through the Indian Ocean. They can trade to the Far East and the whole of Asia. Through the Gulf of Eden and Red Sea, they can trade to the Middle East and Europe. Through DRC, they can trade to South and North America, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, we can only do that, and we can only become a great economic bloc if we harmonize our taxes policies, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Odongo have come up with a motion that this House must and should pass this motion, Honorable Speaker, and urge the Council of Ministers, especially my brother from United Republic of Tanzania. He have always been here with us, so I'm sure he will take the information to the Council of Ministers. And also, I think our brother, also a minister from Burundi, will learn from the Minister of United Republic of Tanzania that they should always be present for them to get such very important information so that when they sit as Council of Ministers, they can also be able to take. Finally, Honorable Speaker, Africa is uniting into the United States of Africa. And through the Julius Nyerere aspiration, we wanted to have strong economic blocks so that they can end up becoming the building blocks of the United States of Africa. Having tax policies harmonized, having common market, having a single currency will make our economic bloc one of the strongest and the founding blocks of the United States of Africa. With that, I beg to support this very important motion and timely motion from Honorable George Odongo, the Mobile Encyclopedia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Sanko. Now, Honorable Kanini Kegan.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this very, very important motion. And from the onset, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I want to associate myself with the sentiments that have been expressed, of course, by the mover, Honorable George Odongo, and I rise to support this critical motion. Honorable Speaker, the East African countries have a tradition of reading budgets the same day. But it is ironical that what is inside that budget varies from one country to another. They are worlds apart. So symbolically, they read the budget the same day, but the contents are different. Honorable Speaker, I have been a chair of budget in the National Assembly of Kenya. And most of the times, people focus on the budget and they forget a very critical motion that comes, or a bill that comes before that, that is called the finance bill. And I know it happens in most of the countries, that people focus on the budget and they forget on the finance bill. And the finance bill, it is what carries the bulk of the budget, because that is where the taxes, the percentage of the taxes, where the money is going to come from. And I beseech all the ministers, and especially the finance ministers, to give importance to the finance bill, to make sure that these finance bills are harmonized. My colleagues have clearly indicated, for example, the VAT, which is common across the country, that we have variants of the VAT. We should have one harmonized VAT regime, cutting across. Because, Honorable Speaker, there is no reason as to why the same product, for example, fuel, you go to one country, it's at this price, conversion, you see that there is a huge variance between the cost of fuel from one country to another. Why should it happen? We are one country, we are one common market. Honorable Speaker, we continue with this trend where we have different tax regime, then illicit trade will always be there. There will be the panya routes because people want to sneak products from one country to another because the regimes are different. So we need to walk the talk. And we are happy that at least we have two ministers from Burundi and also from United Republic of Tanzania. And we also beseech our other colleagues to make sure that they follow this up. Honorable Speaker, we were told the day before yesterday, we had an interaction with our traders and the stakeholders in the trade in the trade industry, and we were told from statistics that the kind of trade that we are doing within East Africa is only 18%. Honorable Speaker, the trade that we are doing amongst ourselves is partly 18%. If you go to the European Union, it is at 69%. How can we say that we are the most integrated community, yet we are not trading with each other? I mean, Honorable Speaker, what can actually portray and say that we are actually integrated is when we are trading with each other. But if you are trading at 18%, Honorable Speaker, there is another 82% of trade that is going elsewhere. Actually, it's going to China, it's going to America and the rest of the world. Honorable Speaker, we need to walk the talk and also make sure that our ministers enhance the trade within ourselves. Honorable Speaker, without mentioning which particular countries, but we know ourselves. Most of our trade ministers don't engage within the East African community in terms of trade. We always see them, going to Belarus, going to other European countries to vouch for trade out there. Whereas within our East African community, they have not exhausted. So we want to beseech them before they go out there, let them first of all exhaust the trade that we have within our area. So with those, Honorable Speaker, I beg to say to support my very good colleague and say that it's a high time that we focused on what we have always been saying, that we need to integrate, but we integrate more through trade. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. There are some members who have their phones making noise. Please put them on silent mode and it's better. So now we have two more contribution, then we continue. Honorable Dr. Magembe and Honorable Said Kibeya.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, good morning. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to make my contribution to this motion. My contribution is small. I'm in complete support of the motion. There are many advantages to tax harmonization within a community. If our goal is to have an economic bloc that is functional, we need tax harmonization. I will mention a few advantages. The first one, when the region has a harmonized tax rate, they do not compete over capital by reducing their tax rates. So you'll find that, for example, Germany will not reduce its tax rates in competition with France in order to make itself a more attractive destination for investors, which is something that Honorable George pounded on very well about. And secondly, multinational companies, they really like predictability. They want to be able to predict what their costs will be.
I'm sorry, but
Sorry.
The member whose phone is disturbing us should maybe put it off. It has been disturbing us many times. Is this side? I don't know who. This side. You have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. The second advantage, there are many. The second advantage that I was discussing of tax harmonization is that multinational companies love predictability. So if they're able to predict their costs, especially with regards to taxation, which is one of their biggest considerations when they're investing in a country or a region, it will help us to attract more investors together. So when the big multinational companies come to East Africa and they want to build a factory in South Sudan, in Tanzania, in Kenya, if they can have harmonized tax rates, it's more attractive. The third one is it allows the use of fiscal transfers between regions, reducing borrowing costs on capital markets. This type of harmonization is, however, of course, quite difficult due to the politicization of taxes. And even in the European Union, they have struggled to harmonize, although they've started very early. I think there's an act of, I think it was 1940 something in which they started with tax harmonization. It's a difficult thing. They have, however, been able to have successes in two areas. The first area is VAT. And with respect to VAT, in the EU, they have a minimum standard. They say, as an EU country, you cannot have VAT of less than 15%. And then they have other tax rates, which are minimum standards with respect to the importation of goods within the region. Secondly, with respect to capital income tax, they've also managed to curb double taxation with respect to profits which are repatriated to the home country. So if you have a company in France and you have profit and you are taxed in France, you will not be taxed back home in Holland, which I think is something that we could really use within our region. Of course, as I've pointed out, this is a difficult thing and an ongoing process. And one thing that I would like to add to the motion, the good motion by brother, the Honorable Odongo, is that I think that in your motion, maybe we should add that it would be a good idea for the council to create an institution that will monitor tax competition. So if we want to harmonize VAT, we want to harmonize capital income tax within the region with respect to profits, we have to have an institution that will monitor that Tanzania, you have increased your VAT here, or Burundi, you have increased your VAT here, and then inform council in order for them to take steps. That is my one contribution to your motion. With that being said, Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Said, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like just to say a few, but supporting this motion that is very important, particularly to ease and facilitate, I can say, harmonization and balanced, I can say, attraction for doing business throughout our region. Because tax scheme is a big factor to attract investors, particularly for the flow of international investment from Kenya to other partner states, and also for external investment. Maybe this external, I can say, direct investment. But for me, it is just to support the spirit of the support, the seconder of the motion, particularly to keep our word within the spirit of the treaty. Therefore, I want to propose just a little amendment to the motion at the end to be in the line of the treaty, Article 9.4. Is it 9.4? To act within the function of Eala, particularly when we read that we are urging council and partner states, urging it is a way of recommendation. And we know that Article 49 somewhere, it provides for the function of the Eala, and there it is to recommend the council, which has the, I can say, the power of as policy maker within the community. That is a small amendment, can be better to avoid any tendency of conflict of jurisdiction between the two organs. That I propose to read, Assembly recommends the council to urge partner state, blah, blah, blah. That is my proposal. Thank you. I submit.
I now give the floor to the honorable ministers if they have to contribute.
Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members of the House, we have taken note of the members' concern, and we shall submit accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Odongo, now you have the floor.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, and I want to thank my colleagues and the House for the submissions in support of this motion. And also want to thank the Council of Ministers for acknowledging the need for fast-tracking the harmonization. Right Honorable Speaker, I want to point out as I thank my colleagues, that it is important that the various motions that are being passed by this House are really put under consideration by Council. There are so many of them that we have passed in this House, the reports of which we haven't yet received, and yet these are matters that touch on our integration agenda. I know that there's a substantive question around the implementation of the resolutions of this House, but I'm just pointing this out because it has ended up being a cliche that a motion is passed by the House and the Council will diplomatically say, well, we are going to put this under consideration. And when you look at the Council business, most times you find that some of these recommendations actually do not come under the consideration of Council. So this time, I really hope that we can make the best use of the Council time to ensure that we have some of these recommendations put into consideration. Right, Honourable Speaker, in doing that, I want to thank my colleagues who have pointed out some very, very specific areas for improvement, and I do concede that there is need for, as the Honourable Makame has put it, that there is need for coordination of our trade relations, and it's contained under our Article 37 of the Common Market Protocol. There is need for us to, there's need for Council to ensure that there is coordination of our trade relations across the region. Working in silos has many times either allowed the deepening of our non-tariff barriers and in some cases tariff barriers without faster resolution of the challenges that our business people face while doing business. So I want to concede that it's important in the recommendations, and I will request my colleague Honorable Makame to put it in writing so that it's captured by the clerks. I want to thank the Honorable Ndangiza indeed for underscoring the need for us to have the private sector facilitated through this harmonization of our tax regimes in the community. Yes, indeed, trade is our common denominator and is the key driver of our integration. So we need to do as much to ensure that our traders continue to do business, and that will increase the amount of business that is being done within the community. And thank you, the Honorable Sankok, for that. The Honorable Kanini Kega. The Honorable Kanini Kega has really pointed something very critical, the finance bills. And I hope that the Honorable Ministers will take keen interest in studying our different finance bills in our partner states with a view of ensuring that the taxes that are pointed out in the policy statements of the various ministries are consistent with our spirit of creating a tax regime for the region that is harmonized, so that we avoid distortions that undermine our trade relations in the different partner states. Thank Honorable Magembe. Indeed, these are political matters. Matters of taxes are political, right from the time of Jesus Christ. The most unpopular man was Zacchaeus because he was a tax collector. So when you are the man in charge of determining taxes, there are chances that you are going to get the bubs. But it's a decision that you have to undertake because that's leadership. Leadership means that you have to take some of the difficult decisions. But again, we do not wish that through taxation, we end up lowering our tax basis and losing out on revenues from taxation, because sometimes we overindulge when we are dealing with taxes just because we want to attract investment. I also have taken the recommendation by the Honorable Magembe that there is need for us to have a specific mandate on monitoring tax competition. May not necessarily be creating another institution, but the council can recommend in one of its institutions and departments within the EAC Secretariat to ensure that we consistently monitor tax competition in the region so that we can nip it in the bud if there are practices that are harmful with respect to taxation within the region. I thank also the Honorable Dr. Saidi Kibea. Dr. Saidi, there are no contradictions. The thing is that we are not usurping the role of council, and neither are we creating overstretching our jurisdiction as a parliament. These recommendations go through council, and council represents our partner states. It is only after council has considered them, built consensus around them, that they recommend. They also escalate these recommendations to summit for implementation. So we are within our mandate as a parliament, as Eala, to give those recommendations through council. So if you look at the prayers of the motion, it says to recommend to council, and of course, by extension, the partner states when you make your recommendation through council. So I want to thank you. I thank Dr. Makame. I thank Honorable Fatuma Ndangiza. I thank Honorable Sanko Kole. I thank Honorable Kanini Kega. I thank Honorable Magembe. I thank Dr. Saidi Kibea. And I thank council very much for the support that you've given to this motion. And I hope that we can then move this motion forward. Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Dodo Dongo. Your motion is very, very important to this community. Honorable ministers, these members have been conducting oversight. They have been meeting traders, small ones and big ones. And this motion is a result of those oversights. The fact is that there are so many traders who are complaining. Lamentation are so high. You should consider this motion as one of the most important for the traders we have in the community. And this Eala 5, we have agreed with its members to do our business differently compared to the previous Ealas. Tomorrow, we will have oral questions to address to you. And it will be just the beginning, because you have moved motions during the last year. And maybe you will have to accept questions about how you have implemented them. And I hope that even when the time will come, maybe a question will be addressed to you about how you have implemented this motion for the benefit of our traders. So, honorable ministers, consider this motion and others seriously so that our members, our people, our East Africans should get good answers when it will be time to respond. With this, I put the question that this assembly do resolve to urge the EAC Council of Ministers and the partner states to fast-track harmonization of tax policies in order to remove tax distortions and to promote investment in the community. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Order number 5 on the order paper. Motion for a resolution of the Assembly recognizing the Youth Caucus. Motion.
Honorable Alodi, move your motion.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
I don't know why don't use these. This stage we have two.
It's
hard
to
side?
move.
And
It's okay.
But if you feel good, fine,
All right.
okay.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I'd like to move a motion for a resolution of the Assembly recognizing the ESC Youth Caucus as a forum for members of the Assembly to promote the full participation of youth in programs and activities of the community. I beg to move.
Do you have seconders? Ah, the whole house, huh?
Yes.
Some the whole house, Honorable Black. You can proceed.
Thank you again. This motion is moved under Articles 6D, 71A and B, 59(1) and 120C of the treaty, and Rule 26 of the Rules of Procedure of the Assembly. Whereas the partner states committed in Article 120C of the treaty to promote the development and adoption of a common approach towards the disadvantaged and marginalized groups in the community, which includes the youth. And whereas Article 51 of the treaty provides that the election of members of the Assembly should reflect gender and other special interest groups in the partner states, noting that the youth make up the highest number of the population of the community and are one of the recognized special interest groups in each of the partner states, recognizing the contribution of youth in the development of the community and the need to harness their contribution by promoting and enhancing their participation in the activities and programs of the community. Aware that in 2013, the Council adopted the ESC Youth Policy, which in accordance with the Africa Youth Charter, defines youth as persons between the ages of 15 and 35 years, and further provides strategies to institutionalize youth-focused programs within the ESC development and integration processes, and sets benchmarks and guidelines for partner states to mainstream youth issues in national development and governance processes. Further aware that the parliamentary caucuses have been formed and used in the national assemblies of the partner states and are recognized by the IPU as a mechanism within the parliaments of many countries established to strengthen cooperation among special interest groups engaged in political life and enhance effective alliances around the common goal. Further recognizing that the youth caucuses contributes towards advocating for and promoting youth legislative and policy priorities, building capacities of young members of the parliament and promoting youth mainstreaming in the work and functioning of the assemblies. Noting that in order to facilitate the effective functioning of caucuses, the IPU has issued guidelines on the establishment of caucuses, which include, among others, a clear name, purpose, membership, relationship with the assembly, and leadership structure. Considering that the Youth Caucus of the East African Legislative Assembly has a constitution which clearly sets out the objectives, membership, and the organs that constitute the leadership of the caucus, and has elected an executive committee to steer this caucus, convinced that it is necessary for the Assembly to recognize this Youth Caucus as a forum and platform for young members. Actually, I would change that, for all members of the Assembly to promote the full participation of youth in programs and activities of the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Assembly as follows: that in accordance to Articles 6D, 1 7(1)(a) and B and 120C of the treaty, the Assembly recognizes the East African Legislative Assembly Youth Caucus as a forum and platform for young members of the Assembly to promote the full participation of youth in the programs and activities of the community. I beg to move, Right Honorable Speaker.
Now you can justify your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll first start by actually editing a bit of this motion and removing the part where it says young members and say members of the Assembly, because I do believe that this is a motion that pertains to all of us. As I know all of us are young at heart, I think this motion underscores the undeniable truth that of our demographic landscape. Indeed, the youth constitutes the backbone, the heartbeat, and the future of East Africa. Mr. Speaker, we've been talking about Article 120C of the treaty, where we committed as a community to promote the development and the adoption of a common approach towards disadvantaged and marginalized groups, which of course includes the youth. I think this motion is a reaffirmation of this commitment, a commitment to ensure that the voices and aspirations and contributions of our youth are not just acknowledged, but are actively encouraged and embraced. Young people, Mr. Speaker, are not just a segment of our population, they are the majority. They are the innovators, they are the change makers, they are the future leaders. As mentioned, Mr. Speaker, in 2013, the EAC adopted the youth policy, which recognizes the role of youth in the development and integration processes. It is a policy that defines youth as, of course, people that are between 15 and 35 years and provides strategies to institutionalize youth-focused programs, but policies alone are not enough. We must provide platforms, forums where our youth can actively engage, advocate, and shape the future that they will inherit. Then enter this caucus. Inspired by the principles of inclusivity, representation, and empowerment, this caucus will be a platform for action. It is one of the avenues that we are seeking to employ as members to raise issues that young people are facing. Just as any other caucus, it will serve the role of advocating, of course, for legislative priorities, and it will be a catalyst for youth-driven change within our community, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, it is my conviction that I urge each and every one of you to support this motion. Let us stand united in the commitment to recognize this youth caucus as a platform and a forum for members of this assembly, regardless of age, to promote the full participation of youth in the programs and activities of our community. Thank you. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. If there are members to support this motion, we're ready. Honorable Black, Honorable Namara, Honorable Kennedy, Honorable Dr. Woda, Machano, Ali Machano, Honorable Olivier, Honorable Fatima Dangiza, Honorable Matthias, and Honorable Falada. And mine are, but will we start by who is younger than? We are all a member of youth caucus. All of us. Let's start by give me the list. Have you missed some names? We have the list I have is Honor Dr. Siranda, Honor Falada, Ali Machano, Honorable Sankok, Ambassador Matthias, Kanini Kega, Maina, Honorable Fatuma, Honorable Namara, and Sam Kennedy. I could have seen Kennedy. Who's else? Honorable Zipporah. Let's start by Honorable Cylinder Blacks and Honorable Olivier.
Honorable Speaker, I want to appreciate my colleague, the Honorable Rodi, for moving this very timely motion. Because, Right Honorable Speaker, the East African community now has about 350 million people, out of which 80% are young people.
I think the figures we've been utilizing are not the real ones, because when we were in Angola, in IPU, we had checked, and the figures we had were about 450, and we are bigger than the European Union, meaning that maybe you have to check your sources, because East African community has been very big. You have the floor.
Right Honorable Speaker, I will ask our research desk, since that we have the research department, to take on that duty. But also depends on the reference where you're picking it. But I think it's timely call. Your instruction is an order that the clerk here instructs the research department to take on that duty, so that we speak with updated figures now that we have Somalia in. Right Honorable Speaker, we have over 80% total population of the young people. And the East African community is a people-led community, is a people-centered community. We cannot pretend as the assembly to be called people-led without involving the young people and without planning for the young people. The future of this community depends on this biggest population, for them to be prepared in order to be very productive for this community that we aspire to be the greatest and fastest growing community. Right Honorable Speaker, when you go outside the markets, majority of the people that are carrying heavy loads on their shoulders is young people. When you go out in the night, even those who work in ungazetted places, majority of them are young people. When you go out and you want people to help you mobilize, majority of them will be young people. People that don't have and they're not sure, when they go to town in the morning, they are looking for 10,000 shillings. When it comes to midday, they change and start looking for 5,000 shillings. When it comes to about 4, they change and start looking for 2,000 shillings. When it comes to 6, they now change and want to get who can give them a lift. Right Honorable Speaker, those are the young people that also have families, and if we don't plan for them, we will be building this community on a shaky ground. Right Honorable Speaker, majority of the people in prison are young people. When you ask what is the causes that took them to prison, you may find these issues associated to crime, and the highest crime rates in this region are coming from the young people. Right Honorable Speaker, when you go to those that are doing either commercial sex or survival sex, majority are young people. The rates of HIV/AIDS in this region, majority are young people. Right Honorable Speaker, it is timely that we design and plan and program for young people, so that we have young people on the center and on the table to design the menu that they're going to eat. Right Honorable Speaker, if we only ask them to be on table, then they will be eaten as a menu without planning what they need to eat. Right Honorable Speaker, we believe that the Youth Caucus is timely, but we also urge the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges to urgently harmonize and pick and get the question of caucuses in the rules, because as we speak now, our rules do not recognize anything related to caucuses. And I think it's very important that we pass a resolution, but also the committee urgently looks into the issue of making sure that the caucuses are captured within our rules. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit and second heartily 100% this motion.
Thank you. Now we have Honorable Fatuma Dangiza.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I also stand to support the motion of creating a youth caucus. This is a timely initiative, and I want to congratulate Honorable Alodi, Honorable Maina, I know even Honorable Machano, and other youth who are behind this motion. It's a timely motion, and we welcome you. We have been having Eala Women Caucus. We shall be happy to also have Eala Youth Caucus. And of course, no one doubts about the role of youth in fast-tracking our integration. But youth is a demographic group that is, I would say, the largest in the region, because, you know, among youth, you also have young women. So young men and young women together, it comes closer to 70% of our region. And therefore, this is the highest demographic dividend that we have to effectively utilize their potential, because these are the citizens of the community. We are a people-driven community, and these are our people. It's a critical interest group, and we have to take care of the aspirations of the young people. Their aspirations, their interests, their concerns, their priorities have to be taken care of. And I think the establishment of this youth council will be a vehicle for articulating the interests of youth, making sure that no youth is left behind in the spirit of integration. We also know that East Africa, being a regional bloc with high aspirations of being a prosperous community, competitive market, the youth are the largest demographic group, are both the market, but they are the producers of the many goods that East Africans produce. They work for factories, they work for different institutions that create livelihoods and employment to our people. Of course, they still have challenges of employment, challenges of illiteracy, challenges of disease, especially the HIV/AIDS. But they can also be, if they are not well managed, they could be a time bomb. They could be a cause of terrorism in the community. But we also know that if youth are properly managed, they are a force to reckon with. We know that most of our liberations in this region, whether it's Uganda, whether it is South Sudan, whether it is Rwanda, all those liberation movements, the youth were the leaders. And today these countries have got independence. So even liberation of Africa was started by the youth. So we really look forward to a functional and effective youth caucus and count on your support as the Eala Women Caucus. You could learn some lessons from us, good or bad, but I think we are doing well and we are ready to share our experiences. With that, I want to support the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Ndangiza. Now we'll have Honorable Falada, Honorable Ali Machano, Honorable Sankok, Honorable Ambassador Matthias, Honorable Kanini Kega, Honorable Olivier, Honorable Maina, then Honorable Namara, Honorable Kennedy, and Honorable Zipora. We have Honorable Falada.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this motion by young, vibrant lady, Honorable Member, Honorable Alodi. Mr. Speaker, this motion is so timely because youth are in charge of making changes in a matters where they is needed, and they maintain the culture that positively impact our community, Mr. Speaker. And as we are aware that us in Women Caucus, we know how we've struggled to come up with these caucus, and we're gonna be our stepping stone for them to be where they're supposed to be. Mr. Speaker, in line with the youth caucus, there is PWDs as well. We all support. Our community need everyone. And having said that, youth are the backbone of any nation or every nation. And they are our future. Every time we hear, we say youth are the future. But when is this future gonna come if we don't do anything? Mr. Speaker, youth need to be empowered. Youth need to be, because if we empower youth, because they play a very big role in our development of the society. And you know, there's a say that goes, in youth we learn and in age we understand. And for youth to be recognized, it is high time we empower these youth, Mr. Speaker. And it says we cannot always build a future for our youth, but we can build our youth for future. So, Mr. Speaker, and I support this motion, and I will actually recommend that it is high time that these caucus recognized. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that few remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Falada. Now, Honorable Ali Machano.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity you successfully managed to extend upon me to be part of the members contributing to this timely and fruitful motion for the betterment of youth in our region. In addition to that, let me take the same opportunity to appreciate your commitment, Right Honorable Speaker. More than one time, I witnessed you come up with your support to the activities organized by Women Caucus. And we expect a few days later, you will join us in Youth Caucus. So thank you very much, and we really appreciate it. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me take this opportunity congratulating my colleagues, Honorable Alodi, for this timely motion. This is timely and needed motion for the betterment of our young leaders in this community. Mr. Speaker, sir, the appearance of my name in the paper that seconded this motion, this is not because of meeting the interest of Rule 32, Sub 1 of the Rule of Procedures of this Assembly. But this shows how serious we are as young members of this Parliament, together with others, that we are serious, we are ready to work together with our colleagues around the region. Mr. Speaker, sir, when you go to the partner state, we'll witness the efforts taken by our countries in establishing organs and institutions in youth. So this shows us these issues are really needed. But the question is, there is no specific or good and regular forum that link our youth around the region. So this is the time through this forum that can be used to link members, so to link youth around the region, dealing with the activities, dealing with various issues concerning to youth. I just want to give you an example. We in Zanzibar, we have got Zanzibar Youth Council. Kenya here, we have a National National Youth Council. And I believe from the rest of the partner state in East Africa, they have got the same organs. So this organ has been established so that they make sure they are dealing with issues relating to youth. But the issues come to our consideration is those people are working, dealing with the issue relating to their respective countries. Which organ organize these people together? So that's why we came with this motion that East African Youth Caucus and can be the link between the members, the youth around the region, who can assemble together, discussing issues, having various activities, mobilizing the betterment of youth around the region. So, on so doing, I just want to give a vivid example for one people from United Republic of Tanzania. We have a comrade Ali Mohamed Kawaida, the chair of CCM Youth League. I have witnessed the brilliant work done by these young people, but I came to realize that the effort of these people is only benefit the people of Tanzania. The same issue can be benefit for the other youth from different countries around the region. So we need to have the forum that can assemble these people together, discussing the various issues. That's why I support this motion that can be a link, a weapon, an instrument to assemble together these members, these people, for the betterment of our community. Data has been presented by my colleagues here. The benefit of having this issue has been presented. There's no need of having much time talking of the same issue that has been presented. So, on so doing, I want to appreciate. Okay, thank you very much for reminding me that. On so doing, I don't want to spend much time in this motion, as some data and information has been well addressed. So I finalize my submission by saying that I'm supporting this motion in the submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, David Odesankok.
Honorable Speaker, before I say whether I will support this motion or not, I want to inform the House that there are 3 affirmative action groups: women, youth, and persons with disabilities. But unfortunately, persons with disability have been considered as an appendix. No function, but existent nonetheless. And I want to assure this House, we also have ability beyond disability, and even our own treaty recognizes us in Article 120C. So as we form the Youth Caucus, the Women Caucus, we also need to have the voice of persons with disabilities. And that is why we need the Persons with Disability Caucus. Already in every country, we have national councils for persons with disabilities, and EAC should not be an exception. Honorable Speaker, all members were once youth, and they are potential candidates of the Disability Club. Even though we don't want you to join our club because it is full, we don't want competition in our club. We want to remain alone with Honorable Bahati Alex as person with disability so that we can enjoy all the benefits alone. I will be the chairman, he will be the Secretary General, and Double to be the treasurer. The 2 of us will be everything. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, having said that, now with the motion of Honorable Alodin, the African Queen, automatically I will support. Because out of the 350 million citizens of East African community, close to 200 million are youth. You cannot ignore such a large population whenever we are moving forward with deepening, widening, and tightening our integration. And since this is the organ that steer the wheels of integration in East Africa, we need to have that caucus from here so that they can go on to involve all the youth and to make sure that our economy is moving. Honorable Speaker, the wheels of our economy are driven by the youth. Most of us are retirees. And you may not drive our economy the way the youth are driving. If we don't involve them in the integration agenda, then, Honorable Speaker, we may not go to anywhere. So, Honorable Speaker, I know the youth who are here. Honorable Ali Machano Ali, Honorable Alodin, Honorable Maina Karobia, Honorable even Sadia, Honorable even the Minister from United Republic of Tanzania is also a youth. Honorable Speaker, and I was also to confirm that I'm also a youth of yesterday, or a recycled youth, Honorable Speaker, because I think like a youth. And all of us are recycled youth, including Papa and also Joseph Mundela. We are all recycled youth. So we support, Honorable Speaker, and I think this motion is timely. Thank you very much, Honorable Alodin, for giving us this motion.
Clarification, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, let me clarify.
Let's give the floor to Ambassador Matthias. So, neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And thank you, Ndugu Ole Sankok, for allowing me to make this clarification. When you are submitting, you ended up by discriminating some of us by saying that about the issue of disability, you and the Honorable Bahati, but you have forgotten that we are many of us. Myself, I suffer from a disability of bald-headedness. I was not born with this bald head. And this one has come as a
Thank you.
And now if I use that, I can see the minister is one of us. I can see Papangate is here. I don't want to include the speaker, but
thank you.
So don't leave us out.
Honorable Musamali, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that clarification, Honorable Speaker. I take the challenge and I restrict those who will join my club of disability. So I'm very specific. So of all the people that will not join, I'm sure the speaker, even though, of course, losing heirs, I don't know if he actually went to the barber shop or whatever. But anyway, for us who are in the disability club, we also want to be recognized. And Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. We may promote you to be our treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. Ole Sankok. Now we have Ambassador Matthias.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, to give me this opportunity to add my voice to that of my honorable colleagues in supporting this motion. Right Honorable Speaker, this motion comes timely. We need to motivate our youth. We need to mentor and empower them. Our youth need to be boosted because their level of confidence will allow them to take the leadership roles. Honorable Speaker, sir, when you look at the demographic dividend current today worldwide, the Africa population is equivalent to 17.9 of the total world population. And by 2050, the Africa population will be close to 2.5 billion. This means that about 25% of the world population will be in Africa. Africa has the youngest population. It's in about 70% of them, and in sub-Sahara continent, the youth is representing, the youth is of about 30 years of age, and their median age in Africa, is of 18.6. Right Honorable Speaker, right honorable colleagues, our ESC youth shouldn't be left behind. They need our support. They need to benefit from this opportunity, and for the whole continent, think we have to realize, we have to help them to realize their potentials. We have to go through mentorship, and this is taking time. We have already been behind, and we have now to move forward. We have also to see if their youth caucus, as well that of the women caucus, shouldn't be incorporated in the treaty. These two wings have to be fully recognized because they're driving machines, the driving future, and they have really to be supported. With these few words, Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit and I fully support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Matthias. Honorable Kanini Kega is around. Now we skip. Now, Honorable Olivier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. First of all, I thank my colleague Alodi, who brought this motion to this august house. I am totally convinced that young people have a great role to play in regional integration, and but also in the development of our respective countries. A country without young people who are well supported and fulfilled as a country without a future. So to achieve this, there must be a framework of expression that brings together young people from the East African community. For my part, I recognize that I become that I am today following the political and the socio-economic support that I received from my young age. I have no doubt that most of us, it was like this. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know that a lot who have just presented this motion will not stay young forever, but they would have done something of value that will help propel the aspiration of young people in the EAC. To finish my intervention, another advantage that I see is that in the youth caucus, the girls and also are also part of it. So direct or indirect way, the different question concerning the woman will be debated through young caucus. So that the boys and the girls will support each other and the mutual to resolve a gender issue. Thank you, and I beg to submit.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Olivier. Let's go to the other side. We have been only, let's go to Honorable Namara and Honorable Kennedy.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. I want to thank Honorable Alodi for coming up with this motion and for amending it actually by including all the members, because you can be young biologically but very old ideologically, or you can be very old in age but your thinking is that one of the young people. So I want to thank you so much. And as you know that most of us are products of the youth revolution. Therefore, it is very important for giving them a mouthpiece to hear their voices. Myself, if it was not because of the youth, certainly I would not be here, no question about it. Having served as the Speaker of Makerere University, the National Youth Chairman of the mighty NRM Party in Uganda, the Chairman of all students in Uganda, and the Senior Presidential Advisor, and elected as a youth club here. So you can see, even in South Sudan.
Word of information. Honorable Speaker, just want to give an information to the current speaker that most of us actually, if it wasn't through the youth leagues, would not have been here. So we understand the plight of young people in East Africa and we support it. That's the information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. I think you are just supporting my points. For example, the Honorable Kim Guy recently was elected as the youth from, from South Sudan. So it is very, very important indeed that, that we support this motion because Honorable Odi, the mover of this motion, in the fourth Eala, we had a bill called the Youth Council Bill. So when you put this platform, once we open it up, it means we shall urge the Council of Ministers to actually take up this Youth Council Bill. Because the reason why it lagged behind is because it has a financial implication and was a private member's bill. And it will help us harmonize the age of the youth throughout the whole of East Africa. In South Sudan, the age is up to 45 years. That's why Honorable Kim was elected as a youth. In the ESC Youth Charter talks about 15 to 35. In Uganda, the Youth Council Act provides for 18 to 30 years. In Tanzania, I think is also 18 to 30 years. 18 to 40. 18, you hear? Tanzania is 18 to 40. So the Honorable Magembe is also still within the category of the youth. It is important, however, that as we champion this youth agenda, we look at how we can integrate them in our day-to-day activities. And I'm happy about the East African Youth Ambassadors because they have been promoting the youth agenda. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I support this motion, but also put you on notice that we intend to bring another motion in the future of the men's caucus because the boy child has been marginalized. I will submit.
Thank you, Honorable Namara. Now, Honorable Kennedy. Kennedy Mukulia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to begin from where Honorable Namara stopped, being the future chairperson of the men's caucus, I would like to, on the onset, to support this motion so that when our motion to form the men's caucus, there is a unanimous support for that motion. Honorable members and Honorable Alodi, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for bringing this motion. Again, I would like to say that in our committee, we recognize the role youth play, and as such, we shall be very keen in helping the caucus in advancing issues that are related to youth in the community, as well as here in the assembly. And I would like to offer my support in the sense that once the rules are to be amended, it is important for us to recognize caucuses in our rules of procedures so that they operate within the purview of our rules. Because we had a problem in the definition of caucus when we first got the amendment to the rules for us to have caucuses. So now that we have the women caucus and we shall be having the youth caucus that operates under a motion, it's important that the chairperson of the Committee on Legal Rules and Privileges take this up and the rules get amended for us to be able to accommodate all caucuses, including the one of Honorable Sankok. Honorable Sankok, we have also persons with disability who are mental disability. So there are very many issues happening in the community. When you are mentally having problems, that is a disability. So all of us have those disabilities. Therefore, yeah, intellectual disabilities. So please, this is the kind of initiatives that the Assembly could take up, and please, some of us will support it with all our backs to push it forward, okay? And thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you for your contribution. Now we go to Honorable Maina, then Honorable Zifora, then Honorable Dr. Woda, and we stop there.
Yes, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. And I first of all want to recognize your leadership, Right Honorable Speaker, for having this motion come in. And I also want to really thank our commission for making sure that this motion finds its space within the order paper. Right Honorable Speaker, I think the earlier speakers, the earlier honorable members who spoke before me actually gave facts, they gave statistics. And I don't want to go back to the statistics because honorable members have alluded to that. But Right Honorable Speaker, for EAC to be progressive, we must carry along every component of the population. And carrying along involves, even in terms of the organs of EAC, recognizing, appreciating, and involving those the representatives of those very components of our population. Right Honorable Speaker, today, and that's why I always say that the youth are the drivers of the integration process of the East Africa. Today, a song that is composed in DRC Congo can easily be listened to by a young person in Kenya. Today, a song that is composed in United Republic of Tanzania, where songs are now coming up very well, we can easily listen to them in the Republic of Uganda. So, Right Honorable Speaker, I want to really urge this Honorable House to really consider young people as drivers of the integration process. And I want to appreciate the honorable members who have supported this motion because it is timely. And I like the fact that Honorable Namara had alluded that this motion, when it came forward in the fourth year, it didn't find, it didn't succeed. But through your leadership, Right Honorable Speaker, we have seen it, the unanimous support that we are getting from members. It speaks to your leadership. And I want to front this idea to you, Right Honorable Speaker, that you become our patron because you have been a champion of the youth. Last week, I happened to have been visited by a delegation of Ligi ya Vijana that is supported by Right Honorable, the Minister from Uganda, Rebecca Kadaga. She has also she has been supporting the youth, a group that actually visited me. It also actually paid a courtesy call to you, and they spoke highly of your leadership, Right Honorable Speaker. So by virtue of this observation of your leadership, we want, as the young members of Parliament, and also as a distinguished House, please consider your patronage of this group so that we can benefit from your wisdom. And I also want to urge our women caucus, because we are your sons and daughters, please consider mentoring us. We will be ready to learn from you. We will be ready to be guided by you, and we will be ready to see you as our light as we try to navigate this space of leadership. And we really want to appreciate your continued guidance and your continued invitation to your spaces so that we can learn and also benchmark of how we can carry along this caucus. Right Honorable Speaker, I have had the main caucus is coming up. I want to invite people who don't also consider themselves as youth, that they can consider themselves as members of the youth caucus, as the friends of the caucus, and also as honorary members of the caucus. So I like the fact that the mover of the motion, the Honorable Alodi, actually stipulated that this caucus will not only be for people under 35 years, but rather we are going to expand the space to also include friends of the committee, friends of the caucus, and also honorary members. So that means age will not be a limit for you to be a friend or to be an honorary member of the caucus. Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for your leadership, and thank you for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your good words. Now we go to Honorable Zipora.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Unlike my earlier speakers, I stand to support this motion that is so timely and have been brought by our vibrant youth, Alodin, and also supported by the number of youths in this assembly. Right Honorable Speaker, we can describe the youth in so many ways. These are people that we always refer to them as leaders for tomorrow. And we'll never know when this tomorrow is, because we've always say tomorrow, tomorrow. That will never come. But when you look at the youth, Right Honorable Speaker, they actually form the high percentage of the population. Right Honorable Speaker, youth can be used in either way. If you want peace today, you can use the youth. If you want war today, the same youth are used to implement or to actually participate, because Right Honorable Speaker, around the time of elections in every part of the world, and especially Africa, you will find those that are actually yearning for seats. They use youth as instruments of good things or bad things, and mostly bad things. So I want to say youth is a caucus or is a group of people that actually, when well utilized, they can be a good resource to our development. Youth are very flexible. Youth are non-tribal. Youth are always ready. And I want to say, Right Honorable Speaker, like our youth, Honorable Karobia said, for the youth, they cut across ethnic barriers. They cut across religious barriers. They cut across race. And therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, having a youth caucus, I think, is one of the milestones even for this assembly, so that as the partner states go for elections to bring members to Eala especially, they will always remember they should be a youth or youths, because there's already a youth caucus that I know they will actually serve and actually steer up the agenda of the community. Right, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the types of or the dimensions of youth empowerment, I want to cite about the social empowerment of youth, where it teaches the youth about social inclusion, literacy, as well as helping kids find resources to be proactive in their communities. Right, Honorable Speaker, when you look at the larger population, our youth are languishing in poverty. And for the few youth that have been advantaged to be in positions like they are today, they can also be agents of change in the community, and they will be listened to by the other youth back in the community. So when we embrace them, we will be actually making the others have a future, and also find out that at least one day they will be where the others are. And finally, Honorable Speaker, there are the 3 C's about youth that we really want to encourage. By actually creating this caucus, we will be actually helping them be able to communicate, have that confidence, and also build a character. And a character that for real as a youth, that youth will be well utilized even from that age of youth, and growing, like someone has said, we will always remember, we will never remain as youth. And I can also say, this is a group that all of us passed. I can see my sister, Dr. Wada. I can imagine how she was when she was 35, when she was 16, when she was 18. So as mothers and as the women caucus, we want to tell the youth that we have you at heart. We will mentor you. We will work with you. We will include you in our programs, so that it can also help you to generate your own programs, so that you can reach out to touch the other youth that are not yet advantaged. Thank you so much. I rise to support.
Now the last speaker, Honor Dr. Woda.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to participate in this very interesting motion. On the onset, I rise to support the motion moved by the Honorable Aludi for recognition of the Youth Caucus. Right Honorable Speaker, Africa is known as the young continent, not because of the age, but because of the higher population of the youth in it. And East Africa is not different, because it's part of the Africa. Right Honorable Speaker, youth in our continent are really disadvantaged in many ways. And it pains me many times when I see our youth are being smuggled using through the Mediterranean Sea to go to Europe because they lack job opportunity. It really pains me when I see them in the Middle East, most of them being enslaved, and we know what's happening. I see many young people, young girls being shipped every now and then to these countries without the supervision of our government. And that's why I'm calling upon the Council of Ministers as they're here that don't let our youth be really smuggled and they're forced to go to other countries and do jobs which are not honorable. Because I travel a lot in the Middle East, and I happen to speak to them, and I happen to see the situation in which they are, but they're forced to go there because of earning some bread to their families. And sometimes we are leaving this to the trading companies. Government has to step in. Right, Honorable Speaker, as said by Honorable Zafora, I really started to work with the young people when I was at the age of 23 as a teaching assistant. And by then I got the zeal, and because I was a young person also, I got the passion to deal and support young people and also women. And that's why, right, Honorable Speaker, during the Women Caucus celebration, you didn't see me here because I went home to celebrate with the women who I used that all these years I support them, to celebrate with them, and also the youth. As a mother, as a church leader, as a community elder also, I really have it as a passion in my heart to support the young people. So it's really in order for this youth caucus to be recognized, and we will mentor you. We will have some of our time set apart to support you, mentor you, and make you execute the role which you are supposed to do. I was very grateful when I've seen during the COP28 that the young people of this continent are stepping out and they're really talking about the future of Africa concerning the climate change. And this is what we want, that the youth should step out and they play their role in all aspects of life. Right, Honorable Speaker, I also want to urge all of us here as elders, as big sisters, as big brothers, that let's support them and let's recognize and let the Council of Ministers also help these young people by availing them programs like the U-Lead, which is really very well. You know, when the young people are there, you see that there is a lot of dynamics taking place. Our parliament now is the national parliament is very dynamic, and you have seen during the ESC parliamentary games that we have a good percentage of young people in our national parliament, and many changes are taking place. And I believe that by involvement of the young people, Sankok is nodding, I think he's still a youth. He's still a teenager, as he said. Let's give them chance and let them support, and let's support them. I stand once again to support the motion, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Dr. Wada. Let's now give the floor to Honorable Ministers if they have to contribute. If you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the floor. I was listening very keenly to Honorable.
Your microphone is
Lodi,
not catching.
because the youth are part of my docket as a minister, and therefore I have very great interest taking this topic upon myself. Of course, the youth, as was rightly put by some House members, make the majority of the East African population.
If they don't hear you, your microphone is far from your. Maybe you can use the one in the front.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I was saying that I was listening very keenly to Honorable Alodi as she was presenting this motion, as the youth are part of my docket as a minister, because my ministry also includes the youth. The youth are the most creative and the most dynamic component of any population, and should therefore be supported in every way. We had a regional conference on the youth in this town of Nairobi last December. More than 20,000 youth had converged here, including the youth from the East African community. And one of the resolutions that came out of the meeting was that youth should be allowed to connect. By the way, the conference was called Youth Connect Africa. And it was recommended that the youth should be allowed to connect without any border restriction. And I believe that this should be also the case for our youth from this region. The youth should be allowed to exchange views, expertise, experiences without any border restriction. They should be allowed to meet here, to meet in Burundi, to meet in Tanzania, to meet in Kenya. If you intend to organize any meeting in Burundi, you are welcome. We will be more than happy to host you. And by the way, my president has been voted as the friend of the youth or the youth champion at the AU level. Therefore, you are all welcome to support the youth if in case we have any meetings in Burundi. This being said, I also support the motion. And we will also discuss it at the council level. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Now, the mover, Honorable Alodi.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Sorry, we have
Oh.
Honorable Minister from Tanzania who want to contribute.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you.
You are a member of Youth League?
Of course, you can see and notice that one even before I can say it, as I appear physically, and that's the truth that I am in the Youth League also. Right Honorable Speaker, I'd like to congratulate the mover of the motion, and I support it right away. And it has came at the right time, as some of us who are youth of today have already become leaders. So we should not very much think that the youth are the leader for the future, while some of us are the youth and the leaders of today, like me and others who are in the house for now. So I was very happy hearing contributions from members who are no longer youth, but because they want to be youth, they are looking a way of becoming youth in different ways, circumventing the truth and becoming youth in their own way. We welcome you again in the Youth League, and we'll be happy to share with you and get the past experience of which we are not there, but which will help us, mentors, and make sure that we become the best group of youth so that we can make a change in what we have to get out of it. As the other contributor said, if youth are in groups, we can be of betterment, but we can be very destructive. So the motion has came at the right time where we urge you who are not in the youth category, but you still love the youth and you see the need of having a proper, maintained, and corrected youth group so that it can be mentored and become the good group and a forum of making sure that the East Africans benefit from us. And lastly, I would like to tell my fellow youth that some of us who have been honored in the youth section and being given opportunity to represent the others should make sure that we strive to make the good out of it. Because if we who are in the front line, in the category of the youth, but misbehave and become the bad picture of what youth are, will tarnish the image of the whole group of the youth. And then some of us, some of them who are entrusting us with their trust, we lose that trust and faith in us. So the youth group will be looked at as the bad group and people to make sure that do not come up. So altogether the fact that those who are not youth but are trying their level best to make sure that youth are being in a good group, we should support them, we who are youth, by making sure that they see that good picture which comes from us. Lastly, I commend to our Excellency, the President of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, who has greatly showed trust in the youth. Back home, we are a lot of us in the ministerial level, in the directorate level, and the other category, which many of us are youth, and for sure, you know, and appreciate the spirit of Tanzania to make sure that everything goes further. So I urge the other leaders of the East African countries to continue trusting youth in their own states so that we can have a good group of people, a bigger and stronger one, which will push these agendas to the level where we will be having benefit of it in the near future. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the time.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Now, Honorable Alodi.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank all the contributors to this motion, honorable members. It's truly appreciated the trust and the encouragement and support you've given us as young members, but also, of course, in the support of this motion. And we definitely do not take it for granted. I wanted to mention a few things that have been coming up. First, actually, I want to take this opportunity to maybe give you a bit of hope in us as young people. I want to say that we as young people are very committed to advancing this community forward. So as much as, of course, there are different things that might go wrong, I want to tell you that you should not worry about the future. It's secured. Of course, we have issues, namely unemployment, that can take away the strength of this community away from this community. But for some of us that are here, we're trying our level best to make sure that we follow in the footsteps of our forefathers that have entrusted us actually to follow up in their steps. I want to appreciate the mentorship of the Women Caucus. Thank you so much for your support, for your commitment to ensuring that we're recognized, and we will greatly appreciate the mentorship that you've already given us, and I'm sure you will follow up on it as well as we move along. I want to take this opportunity to also encourage all the partner states to really relook at how functioning our national youth councils are, and in terms of representation, if from the village level to the national level, that our national youth councils are well represented, are functioning, to make sure that young people's voices are heard. And I want to appreciate Honorable Namara for bringing up the Youth Council Bill. We should definitely look into it because this is very crucial for us. I want to maybe also tell Honorable Sankok that young people with disabilities are not left behind. They are part of young people. We will definitely not leave them behind. And we take this as a task that you've given us actually to provide some level of action in terms of, it's not just about speeches, of course. So we take this trust that you've given us to make sure that we follow up with action, tangible things that can really help the community to advance. So with that, I'm going to thank the Right Honorable Speaker, hopefully for accepting to be our patron. I'll thank Honorable Siranda Blacks, Honorable Ambassador Fatuma Ndangiza, Honorable Falhada Imani, Honorable Ali Machano, Honorable Ole Sankok, Honorable Ambassador Mathias, Honorable Olivier Nkurunziza, Honorable Namara Dennis, Honorable Mukulia Kennedy, Honorable Maina Karobia, Honorable Zipporah Kering, Honorable Dr. Woda, and lastly, our ministers, one who is youth and one who represents youth, the minister from Burundi and my fellow young person, Honorable Minister from Tanzania, for supporting us, and we hope that we will achieve more. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Alodi. It comes time to put the question. I put the question that this assembly recognizes the youth caucus of the assembly as a forum for members of the assembly to promote the full participation of youth in programs and activities of the community. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Pass.
Procedure.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to raise a procedural matter. Right Honorable Speaker, our treaty recognizes that the Assembly is composed of 9 members from each partner state, and that we have ex-officials that composes of ministers responsible for East African Community Affairs and other officials. Equally, our treaty recognizes that in terms of the composition of the ex-officials, the Secretary General of the community is supposed to be a member of this assembly, including the counsel to the community. Right Honorable Speaker, as we speak now, we do not have the counsel to the community here. If there is any legal matter that requires us to deliberate on and to get a legal opinion, he is not there. How do we proceed with a situation where the counsel to the community is not present? And that if decisions of this house requires legal opinion, we do not have any other person in the capacity of a legal advisor to this community. So we would like to know procedurally if this house is well composed to proceed without the presence of the counsel to the community. We do not know his whereabouts, and we would like to know whether procedurally we will proceed here in this house in the absence of the counsel to the community.
Further procedure, Right Honorable Speaker. Further procedure. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. As has been raised by my compatriot, the Honorable Mukulia Ayerson. You know, the Council of the Community is a member of this assembly. And the reason why he's a member of this assembly is supposed to give guidance where there are questions of legalities. For example, we have been talking about the youth of East Africa in terms of the age. Why don't we have a harmonized law for the entire community? He's supposed to give us guidance. Since we started here, Right Honorable Speaker, the CTC has not appeared. And I would want to put the House to know that the information we have, which we have verified, is in Kampala with the Secretary General, the former Secretary General, and the Mabirizi. There's a lawyer called Mabirizi who has sued the government of Kenya. He has also sued the community. And they are in collusion from the information we have on the ground for him to concede.
There is a point
I'm
of
on procedure.
But it is out of order.
I'm on procedure.
But I'm allowed to say.
No, I'm on procedure. I'm on procedure, please.
Let's Honorable Namara conclude, then we come to you.
So after now, we would be having a CTC to interpret. He's not here, even on those two, what we are talking about, order and procedure. So as we speak, he's in Kampala, colluding against this community because they have gone to court, and the plan is to concede and consent such that the decision of the president of Kenya is vacated. Right Honorable Speaker, is it procedurally right for us to proceed with these deliberations when we do not have the CTC here, whom we have now called the counsel of the community? I beg submit.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this house is a house of rules and is a house that depends on our own rules. and the quorum and the composition of the House is 3 members from each member state. Nothing is talked about a specific member of the House, whether ex-official or the member from any member state. So we are procedurally well constituted in this House. Honorable Speaker, again.
Order, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, again.
Order.
I'm on a procedure also.
You said order and you're on a procedure. So which one are we on, right, Honorable Speaker?
Honorable Speaker, and the member is out of order. Honorable Speaker, who raised and brought some issues that are strange to this House without tabling any evidence of whether they are actually in Kampala or what. Those are hearsay. We are not all of us present in this House. If we start saying the Honorable so-and-so is in unregistered, unlicensed place, if we start saying Honorable, is it Kim Guy is not present today, is where, Honorable Speaker, I don't think we should entertain such things. That honorable members are being, rumors. This is not a house of rumors, Honorable Namara. Whether he's in Kampala, whether he's in a hotel, this is not a procedure. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I had earlier raised on procedure. Rules of procedure,
right, Honorable Speaker.
On Cholof. On Cholof.
Honorable members, as I see, we start in a kind of discussion which are toxic discussions there. But let me rule on this issue that has been raised. In my opinion, we have this treaty. I don't care where the citizen is, but he should be present here. We have our ministers, we have our members, we are here. He's supposed to be present in this meeting. And I urge him to be present tomorrow. I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. But if he is not in a hospital, if he is not, I invite him to be available tomorrow in this house when the ministers will be answering questions. This is my rule. So we go to clerk, proceed.
Honorable Speaker.
Item number
Honorable
6
Speaker.
on the order paper.
Honorable Speaker.
Click out. Yes, Honorable James.
Honorable Speaker, may
Do
I
not
beg
take
your
us back?
Okay, may I beg your indulgence, and I'm not meaning to, excuse me, to correct you at all what you have said, but just to insist on the wording that he is not invited, he is called upon to appear here. This is very important.
He is directed.
Yes.
He is directed to be here. Now we proceed.
Procedure. Item number 6 on the order paper.
There is procedure from Honorable Bahati.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to talk about the issue of procedure. As alluded by Honorable Kennedy, it is a very much concern that the members are supposed to be here. And this came up, it disturbed me when I saw the bills, the motions that were brought back, of which we did in the era for adding, being brought back here for consideration. And the issue is, it's the absence of the council of ministers here. They bring the council, the council brings their bill, we interrogate it, assuming that they have done with it completely and they agree with each other. So after 5 years or what, they just bring it back. So what does this mean? Are we going forward or are we going back or we are stuck? Mr. Speaker, you have to guide us on this because we have good motions. Even I had a good motion about the reasonable accommodation person with disabilities, the access, the word, but nothing has been done. If you go to Arusha, you will not find the washroom for persons with disability, even coming or going in the house. Nothing that supports me. So it's a we've got very good motions, bills, but there's nothing like follow-up of that. So sitting here each and every day like last year, we spent a lot of money on the bills and motions. But you see, we are going back again. This is wasting the community's funds. I don't submit, Mr. Speaker.
I think we can be hopeful. We're not going back, we are going forward. Our ministers are there. Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker, sir, mine is a little bit different from members of the House who have just spoken. I was made to understand that the Secretary General has been removed from office, but that he should have been here had he not been removed from office. Now, my question is to know who is running the Secretariat now, even at an interim basis. So are we in a situation where we are in a vacuum at the Secretariat, or there is somebody who is running the Secretariat at the interim basis? If that is the case, he should also be here. I beg to submit.
This is another issue raised, but we were responding to Honorable Bahati. And we had ruled about the CTC, that is supposed to be present tomorrow directly. The issue you are raising, we should discuss it in
Procedure.
Procedure, Chair.
Procedure,
Chair. I haven't even finished my ruling and you want to stop me.
Yeah, the interruption.
I am ruling on the question raised by the minister from Burundi. And I was saying that the issue he raised about the former Secretary General, that we should discuss it, not in this meeting, but we are ready to welcome this discussion as it is raised. You raise it properly, formally, then we will discuss it. So you have the floor.
Point of procedure.
Right, Honorable Speaker, on a point of procedure, are we proceeding well when the council member who is charged with the mandate of coming us to give us answers on the situation of the Secretary General, and then he comes to this house to front the same question to the house? Are we proceeding?
That is the reason. That is why I ruled this way. That is why I ruled this way. You understand why I ruled this way? Yes. Now we proceed.
Item number 6 on the order paper. Motion for a resolution of the Assembly paying tribute to His Excellency the late Al-Hassan Mwinyi, second President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Motion.
Honorable Dr. Makame Abdallah Hasnu. Yes, you can.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm here to move the motion in the order paper number 6, the motion to pay tribute to His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi, the second president of the United Republic of Tanzania, and a pioneering patron member of the East African Community. Mr. Speaker, you will note that this motion is coming timely now for 2 reasons. One, because yes. Seconders.
Yes, do you have seconders? Honorable Black, Honorable Dr. Magembe, Honorable Joe Dodongo, and others. Did you move the motion? So what did you say? So move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And then we go to seconders.
That's why I was saying that, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the motion to pay tribute to His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi, second president of the United Republic of Tanzania. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm moving a motion for a resolution of the Assembly paying tribute to His Excellency, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, second president of the United Republic of Tanzania, under Articles 49, 59 of the treaty and Rule 26 of the Rules of Procedure of the House.
Do you have seconders? The entire House is seconding you. You can now just.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, appreciating that the East Africans are indeed Africans, and indeed Africans commemorated the life of His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi, the second president of the United Republic of Tanzania, who reigned from 1985 to 1995, and who also served as the third president of Zanzibar from 1984 to 1985, and who was promoted to glory on 29th February 2024, and laid to rest on 2nd March 2024 at the burial grounds of his family in Mangapwani, Zanzibar. Recalling that President Ali Hassan Mwinyi was very instrumental and was indeed the architect of EAC integration following the collapse of EAC in 1997, where in 1984, along with the President Julius Nyerere, he oversaw the signing of the mediation agreement for division of assets and liability of the collapsed EAC with the aim of achieving the EAC integration we are currently working to cement. President Mwinyi also played a key role in establishment of the Permanent Tripartite Commission for the East African Cooperation, whose agreement was signed on 30th November 1993, the EAC day, by himself, the late President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, and of the Republic of Kenya, and His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni of the Republic of Uganda. Cognizant of the fact that even after retirement from presidency in 1995, President Ali Hassan Mwinyi continued serving the East African agenda by availing himself in major EAC events, including that of signing the treaty on 30th November 1999, and the launching of the EAC on 30th November of 2000. The retired President Mwinyi was a chancellor of both Kampala International University and Kampala International University Original, as well as the Muhimbili University of Health and Allied Sciences, and also the University of East Africa here in Nairobi. Mr. President Mwinyi also believed that EAC to prosper and progress, the youth, Mr. Speaker, President Mwinyi believed that for EAC to prosper and progress, the youth have to be mentored. And to that objective, he sat as the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Tanzania Scouts Association until his death. At the age of 91, President Mwinyi led the EAC Electoral Observer Mission to the Republic of Uganda. And through that role, he was the chair of all missions that participated in the 2016 electoral observation in Uganda. Informed that this House granted leave for a motion to amend the EAC Emblems Act of 2003 that was seeking to have the EAC flag hoisted half-mast in events one of the EAC partner states loses an incumbent member of Summit or former members of Summit way back in 2019, developments and events subsequent did not permit the House to finalize the bill to amend the Emblems Act. It should be observed that subsequently, the EAC lost His Excellency President Benjamin William Mkapa, His Excellency President Pierre Nkurunziza of Burundi, and also His Excellency President John Joseph Pombe Magufuli. And to that end, it is important to expedite this amendment to the Emblems Act so as to have an EAC recognition of our highest leaders. Aware that the East African Legislative Assembly has a precedence of handling motions that recognizes and appreciates symbolic contributions to EAC integration by our own political giants. A good example being the motion of paying tribute to the late President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi in February 2020, among others. This motion is therefore praying that this August House pass on to Articles 59 of the treaty establishing the East African Community and Rule 26 and 34 and 36 of the Eala Rules of Procedure to resolve to, 1, to pay tribute to His Excellency President Ali Hassan Mwinyi for his role in the EAC integration, so that it goes on record that this August House did justice to accord the deserved honor to a head of state who wholeheartedly served the EAC agenda. 2, to request the Right Honorable Speaker of the Legislative Assembly to remit the proceedings of the motion to the ministry responsible for EAC affairs of the United Republic of Tanzania, and to request the coordinating ministry to transmit the same to Her Excellency President Samia Suluhu Hassan and the President of Zanzibar, His Excellency Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, the nominated head of family of the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, to mark appreciation of the East Africans on the role played by President Ali Hassan Mwinyi in integrating the EAC. And 3, to expedite the process to conclude the amendment of the EAC Emblems Act so as to invoke the requirement of the EAC flag to be hoisted half-mast during events that the Council will determine. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you. Now you can justify it now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency, the late President Ali Hassan Mwinyi, came to be the head of state of the United Republic of Tanzania in 1985, succeeding another political giant, His Excellency, the late President Julius Kambarage Nyerere. At that time, we were still liberalizing the continent of Africa. And the struggle to liberalize some of the still remaining colonized countries was still going on. So he took the role and carried the torch that led to full liberalization of the southern part of Africa. And further, Mr. Speaker, the President Mwinyi oversaw major reforms in the United Republic of Tanzania, including liberalization policies, economic liberalization, trade liberalization, liberalization of many things, the media, liberalization of the political ground by the introduction of the multi-party system. President Mwinyi became the chairperson of the ruling party, Chama cha Mapinduzi, which is having friendship and cooperation with most of the political parties in the region and outside the region, including most of the parties which we are representing in this house. So, Mr. Speaker, President Mwinyi, as I said, this motion is coming timely because in the motion it is mentioned that he was the chairperson, the chairperson of the Board of Trustees of the Tanzania Scouts Association, the youth. And just the motion just preceded this one was talking about the youth. So he believed that the youth needed to be mentored. And he was mentoring the youth to his death. And he deliberated. He displayed that he's a person who really supported the youth by doing a lot of exercise. And he used to be very energetic. And I remember I was having conversations with my colleagues from Kampala when he went to do some jogging to raise some sort of awareness in the city, and he was climbing the hills at the age of 90. At the age of 90. President Mwinyi passed away at the age of 98. He was going to turn 99 in May. But till the age of 96, he used to be the chairperson, the pioneer and patron of the Dar Rotary Club and the Dar Rotary Marathon, where he participated in the Rotary Marathon for many years. And he just stopped going to the Rotary Marathon in 2000 and during the COVID session. That's when he stopped. So, Mr. Speaker, President Mwinyi really was an icon and a role model to the youth and all other age brackets. And he used to conduct himself well because he had a lot of humility and had a good sense of humor, but also was very instrumental to the EAC integration, the one which we are currently working on. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that should be sufficient justification. I beg to submit. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Makame. Now we invite to contribute. Let's start by Honorable Katwamba and Honorable James from Tanzania. Then we go to Honorable Mary, Honorable Clement, Honorable George, Honorable Blacks, Honorable Victor, Honorable Olivier, Honorable Ndangiza, Honorable Sankok, and Honorable Guiding. Honorable Katwamba, 5 minutes maximum.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Outright, I support the motion as it is.
Right, Honorable Speaker. I'm raising a procedure issue.
Yes.
Right, Honorable, Honorable Guiding is part of the motion. So we would think that procedurally, she's the one to speak. The first.
Is she a second? Clerk, did you didn't? If she's a seconder, and the clerk now advised me, you can maybe, and I apologize for Honorable Blacks yesterday. I didn't know that they haven't informed me. I didn't have you on the papers.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to present my contribution to this monumental motion. Right Honorable Speaker and members of this esteemed House, I stand before you not just as a seconder to this monumental motion, but as a humble admirer of the legacy
and the contribution of his late Excellency President Ali Hassan Munya. Though my personal acquaintance with the late president does not extend beyond the borders of my admiration and profound respect for his legacy that I have gained through the historical contributions, it is with a deep sense of reverence that I echo the sentiments that has been laid out by Honorable Dr. Abdullah Hasnu Makami. Right Honorable Speaker, I second this motion and I acknowledge, as I said before, with great respects, His Excellency legacy as a visionary of East African integration and a proponent of youth empowerment and education. Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency, the late President Hassan Munya has significantly, as mentioned before, shaped the path towards a prosperous, united East African community, emphasizing in his work the importance of unity, peace, and cooperation. It is therefore, Right Honorable Speaker, our duty and our honorable respect to honor his legacy by advancing the ideals that were mentioned and which are evident in a lot of his contribution. With wholeheartedly, Right Honorable Speaker, I second the motion. Let us be inspired by his vision of a prosperous and a united East African and his commitment to our collective prosperity. I humbly beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Guiding. Now we go to Honorable Katwamba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First of all, I would like to support the motion as it is. Mzee Mwinyi is the icon and father of change in Africa and our region. He took the country at a very difficult time. In fact, he was at a crossroad, whether to make change or to wait the change to wave out his regime. Mind you, the forefather of our nation was still there with the philosophy of socialism. And actually, socialism never failed, but it was not performing. It was no longer a performing philosophy. So Mzee Mwinyi took the country when we were actually feeling the pain and pangs of the fallout of East African community. The country had come from the war with Uganda. Worse enough, it was the time when the global had gone the paradigm shift. You can remember it was when in Russia, in the USSR, by then, there was a discussion on the glasnost and what? Forgot the first word. Perestroika and glasnost, which means what? Means that USSR has to either to transform from military industrial complex to social industrial complex, change from the vanguardism to pluralism, where the majority will decide on behalf of the majority instead of vanguardism where the minority was deciding on the behalf of the majority. Similarly, it is a period when aids and grants was no longer coming to Africa. It was now moving from west to east, where the socialism and communism had collapsed. So Mzee Mwinyi was leading the country at a very difficult time. Mind you, the forefather was still there, believing still in his philosophy. But Mzee Mwinyi had to take a very difficult decision and decide to bring changes to the country. To the United of Republic of Tanzania, Mzee Mwinyi, as was said by the move of the motion, brought the liberal economy. Mind you, everything was done by the parastat organizations, right from making clothes up to do we manufacture maize, wheat, or do milling, not manufacturing? everything was done by the parastatal organizations. So Mzee Mwinyi had to start from afresh and bring the mixed economy where private sector was brought into the performance of the government. Similarly, in 1992, Mzee Mwinyi formed a committee, special committee, to audit whether the country was still interested in single party or multipartism. The opinion poll showed that people were still interested in the single party, but his wise decided that we should now start multipartism. It is a country where no a single stone was thrown in order to start the multi-party system. Similarly, he participated in a lot of regional conflicts, resolving regional conflicts. By the way, by then, Tanzania and Kenya, the border was closed. It is Mzee Mwinyi who opened the border. So the benefits we see now, I was happy to see that Tanzania has made a contribution to our community 100%. It is because of Mzee Mwinyi, because he opened business within our region. Otherwise, I support the motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Katramba. We give the floor to Honorable James Milia.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity. And Honorable Speaker, I feel privileged as an African and as a Tanzanian to stand today before your Honorable Parliament to talk of a great man, Mzee Mwinyi, known by all Tanzanians as Mzee wa Ruksa. Ruksa.
Ruksa.
Ruksa.
Ruksa.
Honorable Speaker, one is to send a word of condolences to the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, on behalf of our Parliament, for the loss of this great son of Tanzania, East Africa, and Africa. It's absurd, Honorable Speaker, to talk of this man today when he is gone. He cannot hear how appreciative the sons of Africa and Tanzania are. But again, Honorable Speaker, we talk of him to celebrate his legacy so that a few of us who are still alive would emulate the life he lived and how we wish we could be closer to what he did when he was a leader. Honorable Speaker, we thank you for tabling this motion and humbly saying asante sana in Swahili. But truly, whom Mzee Mwinyi was to us, Tanzanians and East Africans. This man was a principled man. Imagine the father of our nation, a credible man, an African, a man who believed in socialism. Out of all the leadership in Tanzania, he picks this one man to say he will be the man to lead my legacy of about 24 to 25 years of his reign as a president of the young African nation, a country that stood for liberating Africa. He entrusted this Mzee Mwinyi to say, you can carry it on. And Mr. Honorable Speaker, in 1994, Mzee Mwinyi and the leadership in the Southern Africa countries liberated South Africa. A man of credibility, a man we all love. Honorable Speaker, in law, we have a principle called vicarious liability, a legal doctrine in the law of tort. May I read what it says? When a party holds some responsibility for the unlawful or reckless actions or omissions of a third party. Honorable Speaker, in 1997, Mzee Mwinyi was the Home Affairs Minister in the country. In the Lake Zone regions, his officers made mistakes and Mzee Mwinyi had to resign in 1997. Think of an African in 1997 who will take responsibility for his office, making mistakes. This was a great man. Mr. President, Honorable Speaker, a reformist man with Jama policies, but I talk of my own history. When he came into power in 1986, I was a young Maasai boy. He brought reforms in the country in education. He said, I want Maasai kids to go to school. I was the first beneficiary to enroll into a primary school in Tanga because of this man. I talk of a great man with great admiration. Mr. President, Honorable Speaker, this is a great man, a family man. Most politicians, Honorable Speaker, do not, it's very absurd to say it. Honorable Speaker, it's absurd to say most politicians do not actually raise good families. He is a man who stood today. He has a son who is the president. Dr. Hussein Mwinyi, the president of Zanzibar. He is a man, one of our own, Honorable Mwinyi Abdallah, was a member of this parliament. He is today a member of parliament in the United Republic of Tanzania. He's a family man. Across the board, he's raised men like Abdallah, ndugu yangu Makame. He's a great man. We admire him. Honorable Speaker, in short, finally, Tanzania has lost a great man. Africa has lost a great man. We should all celebrate his life and emulate what he lived for. Honorable Speaker, may his soul rest in eternal peace, and may all of us be closer to what he lived for and believed in. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable James. Now, Honorable Mary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful that I have had the opportunity to talk about this great man of Africa and of our region in particular. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by making a clarification about one of the colleagues who talked about Tanzania having fought a war with Uganda. And I want to correct that on record. Because what URT did was to help the forces of Uganda, who were then hosted by the United Republic of Tanzania, to remove a mean. Tanzania did not attack Uganda in a war. It was actually helping Ugandans to remove Idi Amin. So Uganda and Tanzania have never been at war at all. And we are grateful. These are the great men of the time, the leaders of CCM that were able to do that. Mr. Speaker, leaders like Hassan Mwinyi, may his soul rest in peace, are very rare on the continent. And I stand here to celebrate his life and to add my voice to those who celebrated his life the day he departed, that he was indeed a great leader. President Mwinyi came into power at the time when the economy of the United Republic of Tanzania was really stumbling. That is a fact. When I look back and I see what he was able to do in terms of reforms, economic reforms in particular,
that did not liberalize everything, but left room for the state to take charge and control, but allow the citizens of Tanzania to take charge of the economy. He liberalized the economy with tact. And from then onwards, the Republic of Tanzania, the United Republic of Tanzania has been doing very well, has been growing without any return. I stand here to pay tribute to President Mwinyi for his political leadership. He was one of the original leaders of CCM. He did not only continue to oversee the stability, the political stability of the country, but probably he added not only politics, but also economy, which strengthened Tanzania to this day. Tanzania is known as the icon of stability, not only economically, but mainly politically, which has given birth to the growth of their economy and many other things. These are the leaders that did it. From the beginning, and the culture has caught on. So we stand here as East Africans to celebrate him. Mr. Speaker, I also celebrate President Mwinyi for the reestablishment of the East African community. He was indeed a Pan-Africanist. He worked with other leaders, and I think it's only President Museveni who is still alive, to reestablish the EAC, because he really was interested in seeing the integration, not only of EAC, but the continent. Remember, the EAC is one of the building blocks towards the African unity. These are the leaders that did it. I remember when he came to observe elections as the leader of electoral observer mission in Uganda, and I met him in Kampala in his 90s, very impressive. Even listening to what he was saying about how things should be done, how he was taking charge, how he was walking the streets, his commitment, not only mentally and in terms of what he said, but also in what he did. He was also the Chancellor of Kampala International University at a very advanced age, still participating, still leading, still being listened to. We'll miss him as East Africans, and may his soul rest in peace.
Thank you. Now, Honorable Clement.
All right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I do support the motion moved by Dr. Makame and seconded by Dr. Guy Deng to pay a tribute to His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi, the second president of the Republic of Tanzania, who played a significant role not only in the integration of EAC, but also in the promotion of peace and security during his tenure as the president from 1985 to 1995. Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, regarding EAC integration, His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi played a key role to revive the EAC, which had been dissolved in 1977 due to political differences among member states. The treaty revival was signed in 1999. Right, Honorable Speaker, as far as peace and security in EAC are concerned, he prioritized diplomatic efforts to resolve conflict and promote peaceful coexistence among partner states. In short, during his leadership, he played a big role in advancing the goals of EAC integration and fostering peace and security within the region. Just to mention a few, because some examples have been mentioned by Honorable Mary and the Honorable Kachamba, he played a key role in facilitation in peaceful transitions in the region,
diplomatic mediation in the Great region. You all recall about Arusha Peace Agreement. Right, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I do support the motion moved by Honorable Dr. Makame and seconded by Honorable Guy Deng. I submit, right, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Clement. Honorable George.
Right, Honorable Speaker, from the outset, I want to declare that I'm a Nyerere-ist.
Nyerere-ist.
And I am going to pay tribute to the late President Mwinyi based on my deep appreciation of the political struggles that Tanzania has gone through and the leadership of Nyerere that birthed, midwifed a political transition that gave us this great president, Ali Hassan Mwinyi. There are two things that I'm going to talk about: the leadership and the life of Ali Hassan Mwinyi. All of you know that as a condition precedent for the EAC, you need to have liberalized your economy for you to join the East African community. And when the late President Mwinyi became president of Tanzania, Tanzanian economy was not fully liberalized. And President Mwinyi embarked on the reforms of which he is very well remembered for. He liberalized the Tanzanian economy, but he did it with with sophistication. He was able to blend neoliberal tendencies while preserving the character of the Tanzanian economy, allowing the ordinary Tanzanians to be protected even when they liberalized the economy. And that allowed Tanzania to transition very carefully in terms of their economy than most of our African countries that liberalized hook, line, and sinker, and therefore disempowered the ordinary citizens of their countries. So there are lessons to learn that even when we adopt these neoliberal policies, we must preserve the character of the African and empower our Africans to own our economic development. Otherwise, the powerful forces, global forces, come and they overdominate our economies. No wonder today, Tanzania continues to show marked progress in terms of their economic development with a sense of ownership of the citizens of Tanzania. Right, Honorable Speaker, the other aspect that Ali Hassan Mwinyi is remembered for is his tolerance. Political tolerance of all manifestations of power. Restraint is the most powerful. And as Pirelli puts it, Pirelli Tire says that power is nothing without control. If you do not facilitate horizontal and vertical controls to power, there is a tendency for you to have excessive power. And that is what gives birth to autocrats. But during the time of Ali Hassan Mwinyi, he allowed for so many tendencies to emerge within Tanzania. He liberalized the political space and allowed people to speak out. And that built a culture that has continued to sustain the stability that Tanzania enjoys today, where people are able to express themselves in spite of the presence of the state. And if you want to know the character of the state, look at the character of the leader. Every state reflects the character of the individual leader. So leadership is very important, and the persons who provide that leadership are even more critical. So if you look at the character of our partner states, of the states of our different partners, it reflects the character of our leaders. And for Tanzania's case, for a long, long time, we have seen the political stability that has been birthed by a significant level of tolerance in spite of the different political actors. That is the kind of culture that we should continue to build in our different partner states, allowing for growth of democracy, growth of good governance, and respect for one another. I thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to pay tribute to this great man who has shaped the landscape of our governance in the region. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable George Odongo. Now, Honorable Blacks.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I stand here to second and support the motion by the Honorable Makame paying tributes to the late President Ali Hassan Mwinyi. First, by remembering that he was called Rusa, but to buy from him the word of forgiveness. We are living in a region where we cannot forgive, where we have vendetta. If you have an issue with a person, even when you see a person who looks like blacks, you still have hatred. President Mwinyi did not have hatred. Even if he had disagreement, what we read is that he was a forgiving man, and he gave a chance for you to say sorry, and he walked on. I second this motion because I'm a believer of multi-party dispensation. The time President Mwinyi took power, Tanzania was living in a Ujamaa policy, and like said by the Honorable Kachamba, he commissioned a study, basically to open up multi-party dispensation. Even when he was a member, great member of CCM, he allowed space for people to hear what do people say. In most of our countries, it is rare that you find that caliber of people that allow that there will be multi-party dispensation. As we pay tribute to him, we should borrow an idea and a leaf from him as one of the people that revived the East African community, with a spirit that we can all live together. Even if you have yellow, even if I am green, even if you're blue, we can live and all contribute to the growth of East African community. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I beg to support this motion by amending that we include the Prime Minister Edward Lowassa, who was the Prime Minister of the United Republic of Tanzania, who also played a great role as the Prime Minister liberalizing the economy within East Africa. I believe that Lowassa as well was a great leader, a respected leader, and at the time he was a Prime Minister, he played a great role in opening up the economy and allowing the locals to participate. I beg to submit, Right Honorable Speaker, by amending and including the Honorable Prime Minister Edward Lowassa in this motion for tribute. I beg
Procedure.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, however much I truly admire, and having worked a lot with Lowassa, the then Prime Minister of Tanzania, but I totally disagree with my colleague, Honorable Dr. Siranda, to not include in this motion a point under which Lowassa is going to be discussed. We just want to put as a precedent that this House will give tribute to only heads of states. If we open the Pandora's box, Honorable Speaker, we might go down to talk about everybody later in the region. I have worked with Lowassa for about 8 years as his assistant. He is my tribal man. I would go into tribal issues. I appreciate a lot your appreciation, but please, Honorable Speaker, let we guide this House, make sure the House only talks about heads of states and not open the space for others. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. We proceed with the next, who is Honorable Victor. And after Victor, we have Olivier, then Honorable Sankok.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, to give me this opportunity to contribute to this motion of paying tribute to late His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi. Right Honorable Speaker, His Excellency Mwinyi, whom we celebrate the life today, has started his journey on earth in 1925 and concluded it last month on 29th this year. May I take this opportunity then to once again condole with the people of the United Republic of Tanzania and his direct family, and may his soul rest in eternal peace. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we commemorate the life of His Excellency Mwinyi, let me mention just a few of his legacy. As the second president of the United Republic of Tanzania, His Excellency Mwinyi has pushed tough economic and political reforms that have transformed Tanzania and the entire East Africa. From socialism to an open economy and multipartyism in very, very difficult moment at that time of economic turmoil. As a champion of Pan-Africanism and African liberation, His Excellency Mwinyi has greatly contributed to fight against apartheid by calling for sanctions as a means of defeating white minority rule in South Africa. We will always remember him as a great leader and strong politician. I thank the mover and I support the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me once again opportunity to make a comment on this motion, which support the vision and the major role played by His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi, second president of the United Republic of Tanzania. First of all, I found it is important, and the spirit that guides this motion is to honor our illustrious and eminent president who played an important role in the establishment of our community. Secondly, I personally recognize the great role played by His Excellency Mwinyi in the development of URT. He was born in the province bordering URT. I saw how he developed his country over a period of time, and a high standard of living for the Tanzanian people had been achieved during his power. And his successors had been basis to continue in the path he traced. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am Scout I know the role of the movement, of this movement in supporting young people. Hearing that he died at the age of 98 while still serving the Scout touched me deeply and inspired me not to abandon the Scout movement, whatever age I get. Also, this showed, without risk of being mistaken, the whole world, his attachment to the youth of URT in particular, and to those of the world in general. He was a man of value. Our assembly must honor him and thank him for that he was able to do for our community. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to submit.
Thank you, Honorable Jenna, Honorable Sankok, and Honorable Fatuma Ndangiza. We applaud them.
Thank you very much, Honorable
Honorable
Speaker.
Maina. Good.
From the onset, I support this very important motion and timely motion by Honorable Dr. Ole Makame. Honorable Speaker, His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi was more than just simply a Tanzanian. He was a man of wisdom. He was a visionary and dynamic force in our endeavor to break away from the chains of political, socio-economic neocolonialism. Honorable Speaker, he assisted south part of Africa to gain independence. Honorable Speaker, and in paying tribute to this great man and great leader, we also thank the people of United Republic of Tanzania for identifying and giving a chance to such a great leader in Africa. Because most of the leaders in Africa, some of them have the ability and they intend to lead Africa, but never got a chance. But the people of Tanzania identified him and gave him that chance after Julius Nyerere. Honorable Speaker, again, after our independence in Africa, there were calls to break away from the chain of political social neocolonialism by uniting Africa, by our Pan-African forefathers, which His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi is one of them. And there were two schools of thoughts. One led by Kwame Nkrumah, and that was to unite Africa at a go. But another line of thought led by Julius Nyerere, and of course, Ali Hassan Mwinyi, was of the opinion that having a treaty of 54 countries may be a tall order for us. They suggested that we should grow economic blocks, regional economic blocks, which eventually will become the building blocks of the United States of Africa. Ali Hassan Mwinyi carried this aspiration, and that is why in the United Republic of Tanzania, up to today, the independent party is still ruling and is still strong and is still democratic. Honorable Speaker, some of our independent parties have disaggregated. Some of them have become unpopular, Honorable Speaker, because we did not have strong leaders who took over from the founding fathers of our nation. But His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi was such strong that up to his demise, he foresaw a strong, vibrant, political, independent party, Honorable Speaker. Apart from Honorable Nkurunziza Olivier, who is the chairman of UPRONA, the independent party of Burundi, you may not see anybody here from the independent party of Kenya, called KANU. And probably they are, yes, also Honorable Dr. Shiranda Blacks claim that he is also from the independent party of Uganda, the Democratic Party, which is the SG. But is it the founding party of Uganda? It was the Liberation Party. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to go into micro politics of a partner state, but what I was saying is that Honorable His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi have foresee this vibrant independent party called CCM grow stronger and stronger, and that our East African Community Economic Bloc is part of his idea for us to be one of the building blocks of the United States of Africa. So we honor a great man, a man that was not only a Tanzanian, but a man who was a Pan-African, a man of wisdom. And that is why the whole of this House have to support this motion. Honorable Speaker, I'm sure if you had an opportunity to also contribute, you will really support this motion because I know you have Africa in heart. Finally, Honorable Speaker, the same spirit. We support the candidature of Raila Odinga in the African Union Commission because he have been with Kina Ali Hassan Mwinyi, Kina Julius Nyerere, and he's also with the youth because recently he was still campaigning to become the president of Kenya. So he have interacted with the youth. He's a bridge between the past, the present, and the future. But if we get like Dr. Siranda, and I blow upon Honorable Dr. Siranda, you had also had the aspiration of becoming the chairman of African Union Commission.
Speaker, order.
I think you should go and have a press conference, step down in favor of Raila Omolo Odinga, because you don't have experience of our forefathers.
You have the order. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, knowing that EAC has 8 partner states and that all the citizens of EAC qualify for that position in the African Union, and is a turn for EAC, is it in order for the Honorable Sankok to urge this House to support one candidate, and yet actually there's more than one candidate for that position, and it is the mandate of the summit? Is it in order?
Honorable Speaker, I was just pleading. Honorable Speaker, I did not rule. I was pleading with members to support my line of thought. In fact, even this motion of Honorable Makame is pleading with us to support his motion.
Order.
Honorable Mukuria, you are not the speaker.
Honorable Sankok,
there's a point of order here.
I think I have to rule on that point of order. But as far as I know, consultations are still going on. That you have to go slowly.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that ruling. Consultation are still going on, but I'm also entitled to plead with the members to support my line of thought, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to support the motion of Honorable Dr. Ole Makame, and all the points of order are now out of order because I have finished.
Let's now give the floor to Honorable Fatuma and then Maina, and we stop there.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. It's not easy to speak after the geopolitician. There's a lot of politics, even when you are paying tribute. Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Makame, for a timely motion to honor and pay tribute to one of the former summit members and also the pioneers of the EAC integration. It is a timely motion, and I want to take this opportunity to condole with the people of the United Republic of Tanzania and the leadership under Her Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, and also thank you for really giving him a befitting burial, because he really deserves it as a great leader and a statesman. His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi will be remembered as the second president of the United Republic of Tanzania from 1985 to 1995, at a time when Tanzania was transitioning from the socialist state to a free market economy, and he was able to undertake the necessary reforms to launch the economic liberalization of the country. And today we are proud that from that time up to now, Tanzania has been doing well economically, just like other many East African partner states. It is the foundation. But he's also remembered for having pioneered the multi-party democracy. And from that time up to today, Tanzania has also been a multi-party state, a democracy, which is both to his legacy. We shall also remember His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi. You know, he was a unique leader, and I think Tanzanians saw leadership qualities in him, and he's the only so far former head of state who became both the president of Zanzibar and the president of the United Republic of Tanzania. So that was a record, and that was a tribute to his leadership. We also celebrate his life, but also his leadership, because he was able to consolidate the union between the between Tanzania and Zanzibar that has been there for over 60 years. And I think this is a model for EAC integration. It is not something that we can take for granted, and this is due to the leadership. It's also been said that he played a pivotal role in the peace processes and conflicts in the region, including contributing to the Arusha peace process in our country, despite the fact that the end wasn't good. We had a genocide in '94 against the Tutsi, but I want to say that some of the remains of the Arusha peace negotiations contributed to the nation building of our country, including in matters of reconciliation. With those words, I want to once again support the motion and say that may his legacy continue to inspire generations, especially the young generations. And as Muslims always say, inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun, that to God we belong and to God we return. Thank you very much.
Now the last speaker, Honorable Maina.
Yes, thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I rise to second this motion by my good friend, Honorable Makame. You know, Right Honorable Speaker, by virtue of my good friendship with Dr. Makame, I benefit from his wisdom, given his earlier interaction with the late President Ali Hassan Mwinyi. And he gives me the fond memories he had with the former president, or the late president, when he was serving as his assistant. So to that extent, I want to condole with the family of President Ali Hassan Mwinyi, the friends, former staff, and the citizens of United Republic of Tanzania. Honorable Speaker, let me say, by the time President Mwinyi was becoming the president of Tanzania, I was not yet born. By the time he was retiring, I was 1 year old. So I cannot claim to have really known him because of that fact. But having read of his achievement, I find a leader who was focused in delivering his people from poverty. I find a person who was patriotic in steering his country forward. I find a leader who was opening his country to the global influence and global participation in global topics. Honorable Speaker, the issue of liberalization of economy that is a flagship reform by the former president is actually something that as East Africa, we need to borrow, that we need to drive the integration agenda and the economic transformation of this region by putting the private sector at the forefront. And I know the fact that one of the reasons that has persuaded President Mwinyi to reform the economic space of United Republic of Tanzania is the understanding that as much as we might have our own political interest, as much as we might have as much as we want to protect our social beliefs and persuasions, we cannot blind our eyes. We cannot close our eyes to the fact that people need to have a decent living. And having a decent living is actually having a vibrant economy. And that's why he opened the economic space of United Republic of Tanzania to the private sector. Second point that I have noted from what I've read, Right Honorable Speaker, is the fact that he wrote his book, The Journey of My Life. Right Honorable Speaker, it is said the difference between the African man, and for that matter, even women, and the European or the white people, is that we Africans don't put our story in writing. In fact, it is said in terms of intellectual capacity, we are even far better than the white people. But those people, they have defeated us, the fact that they put everything that happens in their lives on writing. And that's why during the colonial period, you will find they were writing diaries of this chief, that collaborator, that resistant leader was doing this, but we were not writing our story. We believed in passing stories by the word of mouth. Right Honorable Speaker, the fact that the former president wrote his story, wrote his legacy in a book is actually something that should guide all leaders here. I want to encourage even members of parliament here that in future they need to inculcate the culture of writing your story, the culture of your leadership journey. And I think this is something that as a leader I have borrowed from President Mwinyi. And Right Honorable Speaker, you know I benefited from a dinner that was organized by my good friend Hassan Omar here with you. And you gave us your story of how you rose up to where you are. I want to encourage you, Right Honorable Speaker, and even these members of parliament, please write your story in a book so that in future our descendants or our future generation, they will not be depending in hearsay or gossip that Mheshimiwa George Odongo was doing this, but it is hearsay. Let us put our stories in writing, and I want to encourage this as Mr. Speaker, as something that we can borrow from the late President Ali Hassan Mwinyi. To that effect, I want to really condole the family, the friends, the former staff, and the citizens of the United Republic of Tanzania. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Maina. Now, Honorable Ministers, if you want to contribute. Honorable Stephen.
Right Honorable Speaker, let me be one of those people who also pay tribute to the late His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi, the second president of the United Republic of Tanzania. And as Honorable Maina said, and as we are deliberating earlier, that we are youth, when His Excellency Mwinyi was in power, I was too young until when he left power. But being a public servant, being a Tanzanian, I have lived to read and be told the stories of what he did for the country. So we pay tribute to him and recognizing the good thing he did. And I'll speak just two things briefly. One, I am sure that you know, he took power, he succeeded the president of Tanzania, who gained independence for the country, His Excellency the late Mwalimu Nyerere, who was very, very powerful, not only in Tanzania, not only in Africa, but the worldwide. And we all know that President Nyerere vacated power while he wanted himself. People, Tanzanians, wanted him to continue being the president of Tanzania, but he said, no, I just vacate power and bring this succession of the others to take power. And he was a powerful man, he was a great man. He had his own ideas, which were bought by many of the Tanzanians. And President Mwinyi comes in, he make a total U-turn of what President Nyerere, who was powerful until then, was still alive. It wasn't easy. We are talking here about him being called Mzee Ruksa. Now, Mzee Ruksa in Swahili is known, but in English, for improper translation, is everything is allowed. You can do what you see, it's okay to do. You can do whatever you want to do, but in the ambit of the law. Now, coming from socialism at Mwalimu Nyerere's era to total liberalization of the economy of Tanzania was not easy. And in the front of the powerful man in the world, Mwalimu Nyerere, it wasn't easy, but he did it. And it helped the Tanzanians, and in that case, the East Africa at large. But also, when we were transforming Tanzania from a single party to multi-party, Mwalimu Nyerere was still there. He gained independence. He knew how much he fought for independence, and it was single party turn, then later CCM. But the circumstances needed changes, and he had to change. So one of the members said, while he was transforming Tanzania, he transformed it in a manner which was a total U-turn, but a tradition and peace never lost in Tanzania. We are still one and united until today. So all of what has been said here, for those who pay tribute to him, in the economy sector, in political sector, in social, in family, it is all true, and we are here to learn more about that one. But the last one thing, apart from those ones, as Honorable Maina said, he wrote a book which came out in 2021. It is the story of his life. But one of the interesting parts he had put in that one, and we always refer in Tanzania, he wrote a sentence saying in Swahili, like maisha, now, and I'm not sure if I quote the proper words, but my own interpretation is maisha ni hadithi. Maisha ni hadithi. Kwa hiyo ishi hadithi ambayo ukishaondoka watasimulia simulizi nzuri. Like life is a myth, life is a story, life is an adventure. So you live a good life that when you are gone, people will be left behind, will talk good stories and will speak good things of you because you won't be there anymore. So apart from what we have all said here in paying tribute, I urge the East Africans to live the good story so that when we are gone, we pay tribute like this. We pay tribute which motivates people who are left behind, gives them courage, shows them the way of what we can do to pursue what we have now for the better future. Mr. Speaker, I support the motion from Honorable Makame, and we Tanzanian respect what you have done to us for mourning with us, and we pay this tribute. We agree that we have lost a true son of Africa, but as it is said, to Allah we all return when time comes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Makame.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. for allowing me this time to wind up on the motion.
Any minister, do you still want to contribute? Probably that. Okay, proceed.
To wind up on the motion, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I'd like to thank all the members who contributed in this motion, and also those who wanted to contribute in this motion, but because for issues of time, they couldn't get the opportunity to, including my neighbors here, Dr. Woda, Honorable Kadogo. So, Mr. Speaker, and specifically, I'd like to thank my brother, Omukama, Honorable Stephen Biabato, the member of the council, Honorable Gerald Mwangi Maina Karobia, Honorable Ambassador, Her Excellency Nyakubwaba Fatuma Ndagiza, Honorable Olaiguanan Ole Sankok from Narok, Honorable Nyerichuahiro Oliver Nkurunziza, Honorable Nyakubwaba Victor Burikukie, Honorable Omukama Gerald Siranda Blacks, Honorable Herr George Stephen Odongo, Honorable Nyakubwaba Clement Musanga Batwale, Honorable Owechitibwa Mary Mugenyi, Honorable Olaiguanan James Kinyasi Milia, Honorable Omukama Alhaji Ansar Abubakar Kachwamba, Honorable Madam Mheshimiwa Gaideng. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to reiterate some words that my brother and my sister, Honorable Mugenyi here, and my brother Karobia spoke about Uganda elections and the fact that I was, at that time, I benefited to be the PA of His Excellency, and we were together in Uganda. So, Mr. Speaker, this really touches me because I benefited directly from his mentorship. And also, I benefited directly from his upbringing. Because, Mr. Speaker, being a truthful person, the late President Mwinyi, an honest, trusted person, he went to school, the rural middle school with my late father, and they formed a very close bond. And they had an undertaking, the one for the traditional Africans, that whoever passes on first, the one who's going to remain will be responsible for the family of the one who remains behind. And Mr. Speaker, I can testify, I'm living as a testimony now, that he lived to his word. My father parted in 1982, but he was there for us till to his death. We were there. Mr. Speaker, colleagues also spoke about his book, Mzee Rusa, Safari ya Maisha Yangu. It was authored in Kiswahili. Mr. Speaker, believe me, because we learn our education, we learn in English, it is very difficult to author a book in Kiswahili. It takes a lot of dedication, but he wanted to set that standard because he was a true believer that Kiswahili should be a language that can interface us as Africans. So, Mr. Speaker, he took that project. I remember we worked together under his guidance and until it came out for publication. Mr. Speaker, and finally, to reiterate the words of my Honorable Member of the Council, Honorable Biabato, that the Honorable Mwinyi said that the quote, that life, everyone will die, and life will remain as a story. So you live a good life, to live a good story to be told about you after you go. And what we've had, Mr. Speaker, is the good story of His Excellency Ali Hassan Mwinyi. So for that particular reason, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, and we pray for his soul to rest in peace. Inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, I had met personally this great leader. It was in 2018. I don't remember exactly which month, but I was in Dar es Salaam for official duties. And it came in my mind that a leader whose name was Ali Hassan Mwinyi, that I had to meet him. And he accepted to receive me. I went to his home in Dar es Salaam, and I sat down as a little boy. I remember that when he received me, he was so relaxed, so simple. He didn't even have his shoes. And I sat there. I was talking to my baba, asking questions only, and noting everything. We have lost a great leader, an icon. And I think that if I'm here today, it is because of some of his advices, how a leader can behave, what he could do. So I join my everything to others members. And if we're not making a mistake, or I would like to invite all you members, before I put a question, to stand up and maybe remember him. Yes. Thank you. May God receive him. So, honorable members, I now put the question that this assembly pays tribute to His Excellency, the late Ali Hassan Mwinyi, second President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Those in favor say aye. Those in contrary say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you. Honorable members, it will not be about adjourning this meeting. it is, we'll continue from morning. We have the same business paper. So I suspend this meeting till report to 2:30 or 3? 2:30. So we'll be back here at 2:30 in the afternoon. Thank you.